Feliz Navidad, prospero anno y felicidad. ¿Qué dice africano? Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
the fools and the heat. You must let my people go, so we can roll from Cape to Cairo.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ABS Africa Broadcasting Service, coming to you, ladies and gentlemen, from the great state of Texas, precisely here in Houston, Texas. It is a privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to be with you again today, to bring you updates on the Ambazonia struggle for self-actualization. Of course, I am Chris Anu, your anchor man. Thank you for tuning in. Good evening, Ground Zero and all of Africa. Good evening, Europe. Good evening, Asia. Good evening, the continental USA. Good evening, every one of you joining from South America. Thank you. It's always a privilege to come before you. 6 years. I mean, we are almost 6 years into this, ladies and gentlemen, and we continue to ask. We want to know who owns the land. I am referring to the territory that was formerly known as the British Southern Cameroons. Today, we call it the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, under occupation by La République du Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, we will get that settled, we will get that resolved. And that is why, until that is done, we will keep asking the question to the powers that be. We want to know who owns the land, the Ambazonian territory. Of course, the people of the Southern Cameroons know who owns the land. But we want the international community that draws boundaries, that formulate boundaries, to tell us, ladies and gentlemen, the international community that gave Ambazonia independence in 1961, we want them to affirm that independence that they gave the Southern Cameroons. By the time they do that, they acknowledge that, then we would say we have gotten the answer as to who owns the land. But as of now, we may ask the question, but we know, Ambazonians know, we control the land, we control the territory. Once more, it's a privilege to come to you, and good evening, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year in advance, those of you who are tuning in. If you are tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, by way of Facebook, please do me a favor and quickly hit your share button. Let us quickly populate this platform. Let's get at least 1,500 people, 1,500 people on the Facebook platform. I come to you with some very, very exciting issues and exciting guests too, ladies and gentlemen. So please go ahead, hit your share button. Let the numbers jump. And for your information, for those of you who only watch by way of Facebook, please, there is a bell, I think, on the top right. You will find a bell on the top right of your page. It is very important you click on that bell. What that means is, when you click on that bell, when you tune in and click on that bell, you only have to do so once. You don't have to get on the page and click the bell. No, you only do so once, which means when you click on that bell, every time that we are live, it doesn't have to be me, maybe other anchors, because other anchors are coming up. January will be a big lineup, ladies and gentlemen, here at ABS. So, but then, when you click on that button, what that means is every time ABS is live, you will automatically receive notifications. So please hit on that number. The same thing on YouTube. Now, many of you are also asking how to locate the YouTube page. All you need to do is type in the word Africa Broadcasting Service, and it will take you to our YouTube page. If you type in just ABS TV, you may not, it may be very hard for you to find it, because I find out that there are many ABS TVs out there. Some are just online, some are regular TV channels. But you want to locate our YouTube page, please log in, log into to YouTube, and then search with the sentence Africa Broadcasting Service. That is how you locate ABS on Facebook. That is very, very important. So again, and also on YouTube, you need to click on the bell, the notification bell, so that each time that we come live, you can receive notification that we are live and automatically join. Hit the like button also, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, hit the follow button, both on Facebook and YouTube, of course. Every time we come live, we are broadcasting on satellite, on YouTube, and Facebook, of course. We're going to be increasing the platforms. We also are looking forward to getting subscribed on Roku, so that every one of you with a Roku app on your television set at home, in Europe, in the US, you can watch ABS regularly on your television set, be it in Europe, anywhere you are, where you have internet plugged on your TV set. You'll be able to receive ABS channel live all over the globe, all over the world, be it in China, be it in Singapore, Dubai, Mexico, Argentina, wherever that you may be. With Roku, you will be able to receive ABS. In other words, when we are not live, here on the channel, because what happens is this: we come to you live, you see us live on Facebook only when we are live here. But after we shut down Facebook and YouTube, we are still running this programming. We are still running ABS 24/7. 24/7, but only those then who are on satellite can watch it. So that is why it is very important. If you have a Roku on your television set, you should be excited that you can watch ABS on your television set sometime beginning January. Now, a big announcement that I want to bring to you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this has never happened in the history of me doing a broadcast. Not on ABC, not on ABS, of course. Now, listen to me carefully. Monday, I am going to have a huge guest here. Mark, you will not see the poster out there, probably maybe until Monday morning if you will see it. But listen, none of you want to miss this. None of you would want to miss this. Again, Monday, I am bringing to you a big, what I mean big, I mean a big guest. It will surprise some of you out there. But please take note of this. Take note of this. Again, Monday, 8 p.m. Amber, right here on the set, I am bringing you a big guest. A big guest. So take note. Monday will be would be one of the most special presentation broadcasts I have brought to you all these years since I started doing this. Mark your calendar for Monday. Now, on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, I got a very special panel here. Ladies and gentlemen, hit your share button as you join. I am taking this announcement so you can hit the share button and get everybody on the platform. It is very important. Get everybody placed on the platform. It is very important. Let me see the number jumping. In fact, they are actually jumping, 600 already. Please, if you are just joining, go ahead, hit that share button. I am looking to 1,500 people right here today on Facebook. But listen, on Wednesday, we're gonna be having a very, very interesting and special panel here. I'm bringing together reporters, journalists from across Africa, from the Gambia, from Nigeria, from Zimbabwe. I mean, all these countries congregating with their football teams in La République du Cameroon, and they hope to go to Amazonia too. I am bringing together media, journalists, reporters from all these countries. They shall be gathering here on ABS, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about Afcon, and their plans to host these matches in the southern Cameroon's Amazonia. Is going to be a very, very interesting panel again, made up of reporters from across Africa, from Nigeria, the Gambia, from Zambia, from Sierra Leone. They're going to be gathering here on Wednesday to talk about Afcon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, having talked about that, I'd like you to take a look at something here, something I came across here, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this. Take a look at this place. It is quite interesting. Take a look.
Vous avez pêché la vidéo là? La vidéo là, vous avez pêché.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you will not believe who you see there. You will not believe who you see there. Now, why I'm bringing you this clip of Mr. Beer and I guess friends and family, it's not because it shows him alive. Absolutely not the case. And it is not because I am his fan, of course. Never been his fan from day number one, ladies and gentlemen. But something is interesting in that footage. Something is interesting in that footage. I don't know whether you guys noticed that. I don't know whether you noticed that. Now, did you observe the singing? The singing, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to it once more. Listen to it.
Vidéo là, la vidéo là, vous avez pêché.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, what is interesting in this video footage is not the fact that you find Paul Beer in the footage. No, that is not the case. The case, what is interesting, and the reason why I am presenting this clip to you, is because I don't know whether you observe that they are singing in English. Did you observe that? They are actually singing in their damn presidency in English. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what is funny about this. These are people who will never put out even a press release in English. They will never put out a single press release in English. But you see how they want to sell themselves. See how they want to sell themselves. They come out and they sing, we wish you a happy Christmas in English. Why couldn't they do that in French? Who are they trying to cajole? They are trying to cajole their their Anglophone, the people they call Anglophones. And they come out there, they say they can placate you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not stupid. No Amazonian is stupid, thinking that a simple song sung in English can placate, a song in English can placate any one of us. Well, that was an aside, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me also show you something else that is going on. They are preparing for their Afcon. They are preparing for their Afcon, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what is going on. This is what is going on, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we have learned African teams are beginning to take off from their various destinations, bound for the southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, and La République du Cameroon. We've seen the Ethiopian team essentially taking off for La République du Cameroon. You can see in these images, that is the Ethiopian national team. As you can see, I think that was in their airport about taking off for La République du Cameroon for the so-called Afcon tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, that is again the Ethiopian national team right there at their airport in Ethiopia about taking off for La République du Cameroon, and of course they hope to be in Ambazonia too. Now, the teams that are playing in Ambazonia, the teams or the countries that are playing in Ambazonia or scheduled to play in Ambazonia are, you have Sierra Leone, and then you have Sierra Leone, you have Mauritania, then you have Mali. Mali is scheduled to play in Victoria. And then you have Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea is scheduled to play in Victoria. Then you also have the Gambia. The Gambia is scheduled to play in Victoria also. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't sing this song enough to the people out there at the in the international community. CAF, Africa Football Confederation, FIFA, World Football Federation, FECAFOOT, Cameroon Football Federation, I think that's what they call it, and all the football federations of these countries, Mali, Sierra Leone, Mauritania, the Gambia, these teams playing are scheduled to play in the southern Cameroons. We have made this abundantly clear that Ambazonians have said no to Afcon, ladies and gentlemen. Ambazonians have said no to Afcon coming to the southern Cameroons. We did not take part in the preparations. We were not consulted for the preparations and the hosting rights. This is essentially being forced upon Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. And again, the fact that the African Union has not as much as delved into the conflict between the southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroon, and they are only interested to descend on our territory with a football tournament to essentially conspire with La République du Cameroon to tell the world that no war is going on in Ambazonia. For that reason, Ambazonians say no. Ladies and gentlemen, no to Afcon. We saw that the president of CAF was in Yaoundé last week and essentially assured the masses that come what may, the matches are taking place in La République du Cameroon and Victoria, our territory. Well, that is their opinion. Our opinion in the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia is that we do not welcome CAF or Afcon taking place in our territory. So essentially, CAF president was saying that in spite of all the advice for the matches to be postponed or taken to a different destination, they have made up their minds to host the competition in our territory in Victoria. Our stance remains unchanged. Our stance remains unchanged, ladies and gentlemen, that Ambazonians do not want to host a tournament, a trophy for which they are not part of. Ambazonians will not host a trophy for which they are not part of. They have not been consulted. I have said here that had CAF or Afcon officials consulted with the authorities of the Ambazonian interim government, we would have sat down and negotiated the terms of it. After all, who doesn't want to host the African Nations Cup in their territory? Ambazonians would love to, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, if Ambazonia was to host the African National Cup, I would like to fly there and sit on the pews there and clap for the Ambazonian national team, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking forward to that day. We are really seriously looking forward to the day we see the Ambazonian national team putting on the Ambazonian national colors, standing on that pitch in Victoria or in Boya and playing in the coveted African national trophy, ladies and gentlemen. But for now, we Ambazonians are not party to this Afcon. The time will come, and again we'll urge Afcon to consult the leadership of Ambazonia in this interim government. If they consult with us, maybe we can change our minds. Who knows? Who knows? But until then, we have banned, ladies and gentlemen, we at this interim government have banned every Afcon matches in Victoria and in Boya. And if you are a hotelier hosting any of the delegations coming in for these matches, if you own a hotel that hosts any players, any delegations, we warn you, you want to safeguard your property, do not host any players, do not host any delegations in your hotels, in Boya, in Victoria, in Tico. Please, if you value your investments, remember that a lot of people to Cameroon doesn't pay insurance. They'll come promising you insurance coverage for your business, for your hotel. They will come promising that to you. But I want to assure you, if your hotel is touched, a lot of people to Cameroon will never give you a dime. They will never give you a dime. You want to save your investment, your hotels. Please, stay away from foreign players. Stay away from foreign delegations. It doesn't matter the number of French Cameroon army, gendarme, police that you surround your hotels with. We'll tell you when that time comes, they will vanish. They will disappear, but only you will be left standing with nothing left. I hope you take this very seriously. It is very, very critical, ladies and gentlemen, again, to our population out there to stay away from any practice grounds. Stay away from any practice grounds. We understand that in Boya, they're going to be practicing at the Boya Municipal Stadium. They call it Omnisport Stadium. Whatever that means, Omnisport Stadium. Nonsense, Omnisport Stadium. What the hell is this, ladies and gentlemen? Why couldn't they call it the Fafa Endele Stadium? Why couldn't they call it J. John Good Funchal Stadium? Why couldn't they give it a name that resonates that resonate with Ambazonian, Southern Cameroon's culture, heritage. What is Omispo? That is not even an English name. Somebody need to bring down that title hanging on that stadium. Burn it down, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't resonate at all. What is Omispo? What is it? What is it about? That thing should be brought down. Anything in French, in Ambazonia, should be brought down. Honorable Awudu set the example a few years ago, ladies and gentlemen. It just doesn't appear to me like we are taking this thing seriously. How come we still have French Cameroon signboards littered all over our territory? Honorable Awudu set an example a few years ago when he went to Ayaba Hotel and pulled down those things in French. We have institutions in our territory exclusively in Anglo-Saxon territory, and you find them in French. In French. Something has to be done. Something has to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, with all these colonial vestiges littered everywhere in our territory, those things need to come down. And we do not need Ambazonia Restoration Forces to do that. Everybody can do that. You can do that. You can pull those things down at your own convenience. Let's send a message to La République du Cameroon that we are long gone, and the fact that the vestiges are still hanging around in our territory is not because we like it. It's not because we want them. Pull them down and damn the consequences. All right, but please, our population is informed. Stay away from these practice grounds. Boya, and I think in Victoria is a Centenary Stadium. In Victoria, they are carrying on. They plan to do their carry on their practice sessions there. You go there, and you are touched with a stray bullet, with an IED, whatever that it is. You will have yourself to blame. You will have yourself to blame. Now, for all Ambazonians in the diaspora, on ground zero, listening to the sound of my voice, you all got assignments to do. Why the Ambazonia Restoration Forces are out there preparing the ground to stop that nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, you in the diaspora, you got work to do. I just mentioned the names of the countries that are going to Victoria. They are Sierra Leone, they are Mali, they are Mauritania, they are the Gambia, ladies and gentlemen, and Tunisia. What you can do is go to Twitter and tweet these countries with their football associations and tell them the Southern Cameroons is not safe. The Southern Cameroons isn't safe for their delegations and their players, and that they risk taking their players to a war zone where a stray bullet can take their lives. Every Ambazonian go out and tweet these countries, their presidencies, their football federations, and their football teams. Tweet them. Tell them they are risking their lives going down to the Southern Cameroons. One thing is very sure. Let me say it. It is this. La République du Cameroun. La République du Cameroun will not, ladies and gentlemen, be able to grant any of these teams security in Ambazonia. No, they will not be able. They will not be able to grant any of these teams security in Ambazonia. La République du Cameroun, ladies and gentlemen, has not been able. They have not been able to grant security, to ensure security in that territory for the past 5 years and counting. They have not. They have not been able to grant security in that country for the past 5 years and counting. And let me assure them, let me assure them, ladies and gentlemen, they will not be able to grant them security at this time. They will not be able to grant them security at this time. It is very, very critical that we send out this message. In your tweet, tell them La République du Cameroon will not be able to grant their teams, their players, their delegations security to play in the Southern Cameroon because the Southern Cameroon is a war zone. Now, let's also tell the international community, ladies and gentlemen, French Cameroon soldiers are terrorists. They are terrorists who are killing our people. Now, messages like information like this, images like this, look at this, ladies and gentlemen, look at that, look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the kind of messages to tweet out there. These are the kind of messages you want to tweet out there. Let the world see what soldiers upon whom they rely for security are doing on civilians. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Those are so-called trained soldiers and police. Look at innocent citizens. Look at the way they are treated. And the African Union want to come to Ambazonia to play Cup of Nations? What happened to the fight for human rights? What happened to it? What happened to it? Why is the African Union not saying Cameroon is killing her own citizens and that Cameroon is unfit to host a competition of this caliber? Why can't they use it as a punitive measure, ladies and gentlemen, on Cameroon to once and for all let them know the world sees their genocide in their torture chambers plus the mass graves that they have in that country? These are the kind of images we need to be tweeting out there. Tweet these images, ladies and gentlemen. Let the world see. Let the world see. And know that and understand why Ambazonians say no to the so-called Cup of Nations. That is the reason. That is the reason. Of course, you know there are so many out there. Now, how about this, ladies and gentlemen? How about this one? Let me take you to Kumba. Let me take you to Kumba here. I think this is Kumba. Yes. Take a look, ladies and gentlemen. That is Kumba. That is in Kumba. That is French Cameroon evacuating their corpses from Ambazonia. Look at that. Take a look at that. Those are French Cameroon soldiers evacuating their own deaths from Ambazonia. That was precisely in Kumba. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. That is the territory in which they want to host an international tournament. Look at that. Look at that. They want to come and host an international tournament under these circumstances. Which country does that? Who does that? Who truly does that, ladies and gentlemen? Who does that? Now take a look at that. That is a military truck. That is a military truck. Again, this took place in Kumba. This took place in Kumba, I think that was last week. Now, you all understand Kumba is only a few kilometers from Boya and Victoria, where they plan to have these matches taking place. And when we say there is no security, we cannot guarantee French Cameroon any security. This is what we are talking about. This is what we are referring to. We cannot, Ambazonians cannot guarantee anybody from the international community a safe ride a safe ride into Amazonia. I really hope that they listen to the sound of my voice and know that we mean what we say. And know that Amazonians, they mean what we say. And let me speak to our people, every Amazonian, be it in the diaspora or on ground zero. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a do or die issue. This stopping of Afcon is a do or die issue. I said to you here last time that it is very critical, the message that comes out from our territory after that period of Afcon. La République du Cameroon is strategizing to send a propaganda message, ladies and gentlemen, to the international community that, oh, there is no war going on in Amazonia. Look, we played our matches, African Cup of Nations, in some of their most popular and biggest cities. Nothing is going on. Only a few pockets of terrorists hanging in the peripheries of the cities and towns, disturbing the peace of the country. That is the message that La République du Cameroon wants to send across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, as far as this Afcon is concerned, and what we have to do is deny them. Again, deny them this message. That is what we have to do. We have to deny them, deny La République du Cameroon, ladies and gentlemen, this message. We will deny them. We are denying them with what? The activity of the Amazonia Restoration Forces and the activities of every Amazonian in the diaspora and at home. Everyone who can write emails, who can tweet, who can do something, ladies and gentlemen. Every one of us. Opopo, they call it one man, one power. I learned that from the team Opopo Victoria United, as they used to call it. Opopo. Let all of us in Amazonia be Opopo against Afcon. All right, one last thing on Afcon before I take you to the focus of this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like you to look at this. This is Samuel Eto'o. Samuel Eto'o with his incantations, initiations in Victoria. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Eto'o in Victoria. Look at that. No, not in Victoria. I'm sorry. Not in Victoria. That was not in Victoria, I am told. That was somewhere in Douala. What is going on there is Samuel Eto'o is being anointed to grab the African Nations trophy as Fecafoot president, their new Fecafoot president for that country. Samuel Eto'o is being anointed and initiated to bring home to retain the African Cup of Nations in the La République du Cameroon. That is how they plan to win. That is how they plan to win the matches. I don't know whether that gives them victory. That if it gives them victory, that is okay. If that gives them victory, that is okay. But again, Amazonians, we should not buy this. Again, nobody should buy this. Nobody should buy this. We are resolved. Amazonia is resolved. Victoria is resolved. Boya is resolved. The matches end in the territory of La République du Cameroon. That should be the case. Everybody doing his own thing to stop it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me now take you to the main subject of this presentation. The main subject of this presentation today. I come to you with a very, very important interview. Fellow Ambazonians, so many things have been going wrong. So many things have been going wrong in this, our government. And I believe many of you feel it and you see it. The good thing is that we are not about to cut and run. Anglo-Saxons are not those who cut and run. Anglo-Saxons stay in, ladies and gentlemen, they stay in and they fix it. And that is what we intend to do as far as this, our interim government, is concerned. Whatever you see going on wrong in this, our government, the fight that you see going on in this, our government, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me very carefully. It is not a fight against the interim government. Absolutely, it is not. And it must never, never, ever be. What is going on is a fight to save the interim government and to save the Ambazonian struggle. Because what I see, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me last, was it last Friday? I think it was, yes, last Friday. And I said, listen, the time has come that you look after your LG. If you love the interim government, you support the interim government, support your county, sponsor your county. Do not give a dime to the National Treasury until it is audited and the president is audited. But the interim government, this interim government must be rescued and saved. So therefore, what we are trying to do is not trying to get rid of the interim government. Absolutely not. Anybody who tries or thinks he can destroy the interim government will destroy me first before they destroy the interim government, ladies and gentlemen. But what we must do is get rid, listen to me carefully, and I choose my words very intentionally, get rid of lame duck leaders who are about to destroy this interim government. And you know, this interim government is the custodian of the Ambazonian struggle. What they're trying to do is destroy the interim government. They destroy the interim government, then the struggle is destroyed. Look at outside there, ladies and gentlemen. Look outside there. Which other group is out there that will stand and fight for Ambazonia as the interim government has done? There is none, and I mean absolutely none. So we have to make sure the leadership we have in place has Ambazonia, only Ambazonia at heart. Because if Ambazonians decide they are no longer giving their money to the interim government because of the kind of leaders leading it, ladies and gentlemen, the struggle will be over. The struggle will be over. But we don't want that. We don't want that. We need to re-galvanize. We need to re-galvanize everybody to the center. So that like it was before, ladies and gentlemen, we can talk about Ambazonia and not talk about individuals, and not talk about groups, and not talk about cartels, and not talk about cabals. As we hear out there, we should talk about Ambazonia only. That is why we are here. That is why we are here. In the course of 2 years, we have seen problems in Momo. We have seen problems in Fako. We see problems in Belo. We see problems in Membe. You can count them. And the leadership that we have in place has not been able to delve into those problems and resolve them as a neutral power in those counties and LGS. They have now spiraled all over the place. Last year, Momo County drafted well over $600,000 transfer convert that into CFA francs, that is about, how much is that? 300 million? I think so, around that amount, ladies and gentlemen. That was last year's draft. Momo drafted well over $600,000. Now, you will agree with me, throughout the whole year, we are now in the second draft. We have not seen what happened with a draft that went to Momo. And of course, that is not to say that Momo got all of that money. It would be unfair, ladies and gentlemen, to say that they got all of that money. I'm not even sure whether they got half of that money. But listen, they should not have any excuse or any exception, because I do not think any county that drafted got all that they drafted. The BLM did not. They did not. Mezam did not. Ngo Ketunja did not. Banso or Bui did not. No county received all that they drafted. ABC drafted $95,000 and they got only $40,000, ladies and gentlemen. But at least some money came in. The question for Momo in particular is, what happened to that money? Why is it that Momo of all has been dead? We saw the killing of General Commando, and up to today, nobody knows exactly how he died and why he died. There is no way to establish that General Commando died at the war front. It cannot be established as of now because there are no pictures, there are no videos, there is nothing to show, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, you also have in Momo this problem of divisions that has gone on, I think, for close to 6 months now. It all started with elections in Ngi LGA and then moved on to the county level. Now, I hear of conspiracies to remove the LGA chair for Njikwa and the LGA chair for many more. So the question is, what is going on in Momo? Why is Momo very, very inactive? Why is Momo not demonstrating her strength as Bui is doing, as Mezam is doing, as Ngoketunja is doing, as the BLM is doing, as Manu is doing? We rarely hear of anything happening in Momo. What is going on there? And why are Momo leaders contesting an election that took place in Ngi and an election that took place at the county level? Now, I bring you this preamble to introduce to you some of the cheers of Momo, ladies and gentlemen, who will be taking my questions and answering them. And at a point in time, I will open the phone lines, allow you to ask your question. Now, this is very, very important. The Department of Home Affairs here at the interim government organize and supervise the elections in Ngi. If I'm wrong, I will be corrected, but that's my understanding, that the Department of Home Affairs here at the interim government organize and supervise those elections in Ngi and the county at large. The also Department of, they call it the IOC. What's the full acronym for it? Intergovernmental Oversight Committee, IOC. The Intergovernmental Oversight Committee also supervised, ladies and gentlemen, and proclaimed the results of Ngi elections and Momo County elections. They are not here today. I'd like you to know that I reached out to the Secretary of Home Affairs to participate in this interview because of his job schedule. He said he couldn't make it. But he sent me some questions to ask the panel here, the chairs here. However, I am not going to ask those questions because I am the only one who asks questions. If they were both on set, I will allow them to ask those questions. I am looking forward for an opportunity to have the Secretary of Home Affairs come on set here, join me, and take care of those questions. The same thing with the IOC chair, Ma Eli, who is out there in London. I sent her a message to join the broadcast today. I did not hear from her. I want you all to know that no door, the door is closed. I mean, no door is closed against anybody. No door is closed against anybody. If after this interview today, you feel like coming on set to clarify anything pertaining to this interview, please, the Secretary of Home Affairs and the Chair of the IOC, Intergovernmental Oversight Committee, you are more than welcome to make any clarifications that you may want to. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by Comrade Jackson. I am joined by Comrade Jackson. I think it's Jackson Omeka. I hope I got it right. Mr. Chairman, sir, it's a privilege to have you here on ABS. Good evening. Mr. Chairman, I think something is wrong with your microphone. You seem muted. You are muted. I think so. Why you call it? Okay, you are on now.
Can you hear
Wonderful.
me?
Good evening, sir.
All right, thank you, Secretary Chris. It's a pleasure being with you today.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. So good to see you, sir. We are also joined, ladies and gentlemen, by the chair of Momo LGA. He is actually joining us from a sick bed, but I will bring him on later. But Mr. Chairman, sir, I will start with you. I understand that you resigned from Ingi local government, no, as from Momo, as chair of Momo. If I'm wrong, you will set the record straight. But I understand you resigned as chair of Momo. Why do you still go by the name of chair, sir?
All right, thank you. Well, you address me chairman. I address myself as Jackson. Second of all, well, there are some titles in life. When you get them, there are certain positions you get them, it sticks with you. Well, everybody's free to call me what they want, but my name is Jackson. That's all I can say.
Wonderful. All right. Great to know that. Now, let us delve into the issues in your LGA and county. You were also the former chair of Ingi. Am I correct?
You're correct.
All right. And also, you are no longer the chair of Ingi.
That's correct.
Now, an election was conducted in Ingi. However, there's been lots and lots of contentions from your camp in particular. Can you tell our audience, we have over 1,100 people watching on you on Facebook alone at the moment, and I want to believe they are very, very anxious to hear from you why the contention over the elections in Ingi Place.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Yes, Chris, I accepted to come here today because ever since I stepped down from the LGA, I've been very silent, and there has been a lot of booze, a lot of noise on social media by some ill-intentioned individuals distorting the record, distorting the information. I decided to come here today to set the record straight. And for the first time, let me say this. I am not the chairman of Ngi. I am not the chairman of Momo. And I never asked for any extension of any mandate as such. Hear from me today. This is contrary to all the information that we hear on social media from individuals that I will later on call their names today. Because I am one of those persons that I want that before you accuse me of anything, be ready to present facts. And if I say something about somebody, I'll call your name personally because I want the record to be straight. So now, the issue with the elections in Guinea is that there was so much noise going on after the hurricane that happened in Mogamo, LGA. Now, there were individuals in the LGA that kept clamoring for elections in Guinea. And I will mention names like Ochiba Nelson. I will mention names like Omega is one of our sons who is in the United Kingdom, and a couple of others. They brought the issues to the General Assembly several times and people refused it. But they keep on saying it. They said they were going to create another RGA. We had an executive meeting. In that executive meeting, we unanimously, both with the current chair, that is Mr. Mbuta Samuel, who was my vice chair, who was the one actually the chair of NG, because I considered so many at the level of the management of NG to him. So we both agreed that we're going to resign and give room for new election instead of creating another, and which we did. We put in an information out there, and we asked for elections. And let me just do a few one of these correction. Secretary Anderson and his office did not monitor the election in Guinea. They monitored the election at the level of the county. So when we did these elections, the Ngi people sat together, came up with an electoral committee, and they agreed on the conditions for the elections. And some of the conditions were the CID. Let me just see here. The condition were the CID. You must have paid the CID. You must have contributed for the 2020 draft. You must be participating in the meetings, and a host of others that just missed my mind. So when we came up with these ideas, they had a committee that was headed by a lady, one of our lady that is in London. Now, names came up. They gave those names to the lady to go and do the vetting. The vetting was to make sure that anybody that is elected has complied with what the House agreed. On the day of elections, they came and they said so many people were not complying. At that point, some individuals, Secretary Ambrose, Ochiba Nelson, and a host of others, they said the election must hold. They should waive everything. Now, the chair lady of the commission said, we cannot have new member nominated today because we still have to vet them. They said no, they should put everything aside.
Before you went in for the elections, had members already been nominated?
Yes.
Who were there?
Few of them
who were there, and how many of them were there?
I know that I was nominated, which I turned down, but they was insisting. I know that Mr. Sam Buta was nominated as the chairperson. Then a few other persons were nominated for other secondary positions. But when they went through the vetting, I was actually the only one that was qualified, because I was up to date with my 2020 draft. I am paying my CID every month, and I'm attending my meetings every week. And I was the only one. So now there was a bone of contention. They need other members. So the chair lady said, let us bring more nominees, and we can agree, let me go and vet them and see if they meet what we agreed. At that point, they said no. So, and then another most important thing that happened was that these people went and brought people that for my lifetime. I don't know them.
When you say
Remember,
these people, who are you referring to?
I'm referring to the Ochibas, to the Dr. Abiedo.
Okay.
I will call him Dr. Abiedo because I believe in academic achievement. If not of that, I will not call him a doctor because of
Okay.
what he did on that day. And they went and brought individuals that were not, people that have not been in Gi. They brought people to come and silence the voice of people that have been there committed to build this LGA. Now, when we ask, who are these people? No, they are Ngi people. If they are Ngi people, they are good, they are fit to vote, they can vote. So at that point, the chair lady stepped down that I can't participate in this type of sham because
So
there
what
should
you are
be
saying
some
is on the date of the election,
elections.
the chair lady
Yes.
who's supposed to manage the election, conduct the election, step down. Do I get it correctly?
Yes, she said
Okay.
because they were forcing her to have elections, she stepped down. She said, "No, I can't be part of this sham because this is not what we
Hold on.
agreed to do."
What did she mean by they were forcing her to have election? But that day was meant for an election, isn't it?
Yes,
Okay.
but then, most of the candidates that were nominated did not qualify.
Okay.
So they were trying to do more nomination and election on the same day. She said it is practically impossible to nominate and vet at the same and do election on the same day,
Okay.
which is practical. But when they push forward, she said, "No, I'm stepping down. I don't want to do this." At that point, a member of the committee who was not the chair, Secretary Ambrose, said he was going to organize the election. We were about 65 in that meeting. About 30 people were left because the rest left the meeting, and they sat there and did the elections that they did. So after that, I wrote to Anderson, and I told Anderson that
And Anderson
this is
here is the Secretary of Home Affairs.
yes. I told Dr. Anderson, and let me say this very clear on your show. What I wrote to Anderson was, as the county chair at the time, to give him a review of what actually happened in Yi. And I enumerated every single thing that happened in Yi. And I sent it to him, and I copied other places. And in my report to him, I brought up the discrepancies that happened. That they brought ghost people to come to Ngi and voted. They brought people that did not comply with CID. They brought people who did not qualify with the draft, and people that have not been attending the meetings. So that is my report to Anderson. And when I sent that report to him, he said I was supposed to state that the election should be cancelled. I said, no, I can't do that because it's going to give the people the feeling that I want to be the chairman on you, which I don't want to. But I'm giving it to you, like the Secretary of Defense, to take a look at it, come and investigate, and make an informed decision. Of course, which he did not do. So that is where...
So you are saying that the Secretary of Home Affairs, after listening to your petition, did not carry out any investigation?
No. But to his credit, he came to Ngi and talked to the General Assembly, and the same points that I presented to him were presented to him again. And he said, okay, he's going to look into it. 2 weeks after, I was sitting at home. I got a text from the Vice Chair, Matendu, that I should join a meeting. I said, what meeting? Well, anyway, I joined the meeting. Behold, in that meeting, I saw Secretary Anderson, I saw Undersecretary Frank of Ngoketunja, and then I saw the rest of the chairs. Then I saw, interestingly, I saw Ghana, the chairman of Mogamo, for the first time in that meeting, in the Momo meeting. I said, wow, this is getting interesting. So I said, okay. I sat there and I listened, which he came on that day. After the elections of Ngi, even though he said he has not validated the elections, he came on that day and said, "Oh, I'm here to validate the elections. No, I'm here to conduct a county elections to replace me." I said, fine. So we sat quiet. He conducted the elections. He told the chairman of Ngi that he cannot vote because the elections in Ngi have not been validated. Now, the rest of the county chair said,
Did you participate in the county elections for chairperson?
Yes, I was there.
Okay.
So
You had not yet resigned as Ngi chair by the time of that election?
No, I had resigned as the chairman of Ngi, but I was still the county chair. And by virtue of the Amber Peace Plan, there was supposed to be a transition at the level of the county, which is what we were planning to do. So Anderson came because I was no longer the chair of Ngi to transition at the head of the county. So the chair sat together and said, there is a special project we're doing. Let's give ourselves 3 months and then we're going to transition out. They conducted the vote and it was okay. And Anderson and Frank left. When the information went to the community, it started from Ngi, the Ochibas, the Aringwas, the Rachel, Mother Tugon, most of those appointees that are in government. They said, oh no, they started making all this noise. And we keep on doing what we're doing. Now, it will be interesting to know that at that point, some individuals went and created another county forum asking for elections. And in that forum, they did not include all these Momo sons and daughter in it. And guess who signed? We have people like Ochiba Nelson that are signing for the people of Ngi.
Hold on there. Some other people went and created a forum. Is that what you said?
Madatugon, Ochiba, Aringwa, and the rest. They created a forum.
And that was for where?
Mildred,
for Momo or for Ngi?
Yes.
For Momo?
Yes.
So now, at this moment, that is when the faction is created. The factions emerge in Momo?
Yes. They actually started the faction. That was the faction that they created. They call it the Momo Ad Hoc Committee.
And who were those? And who were the members? And how many people were in there? Who were the leaders?
I know that I wasn't there. I know that other persons that I know, like Dr. Fidelis, that I consulted, were not there. But I know that Ochiba signed. I know that Mildred was there. I know that Aringwa was there. I know that Dorotingwa of the Ethics Committee. I know that I just want to call the prominent members. I know that Mother Tugon was there. I know that Rachel was there. Those people at the level of the cabinet, those are the people that spearheaded the whole coup d'etat.
Okay. You hold on there. Let me get to Chairman Ephraim from Menemo because he has been very much in the middle of this, just as you have been. Chairman Ephraim, sir, again, it's a great privilege to have you join. I know that you are joining from a sick bed. I just hope that you are able to go through this in spite of the pains on yourself. So, Chairman Ephraim, sir, good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Secretary Chris. Chairman Jackson, welcome. And I'm pleased to be here today to throw some light on what is happening in Menemo.
You have heard the narrative that Chairman Jackson narrated a few minutes ago. Is there anything you want to add or take out of it before I get down to issues directly concerning you?
Not much. I think he has a better memory than mine. But I would add, I know some people are going to say, oh, why are you commenting on the affairs of G? You're not a person from G. No, it doesn't matter. We are a body. We are a body. And there are things that happen in G or Mogamo or many more that affect all of us. So one thing I noted about G is that the electorate on the day of the election in G were not necessarily people that were known, were not necessarily people that have been participating in any manner. Okay, so let me explain this way. We know there's a criminal at home there called Atanganji. We know where he comes from. Atanganji is from Santa LG. If they were conducting elections in Santa LGA, what they would say there is, if you are from Santa, let's say Atanganji ran to the United States and was living somewhere in the diaspora. If you're in Santa, whether you have been participating in elections or not, in any activity or doing what, so long as you're from Santa, you can vote. So anybody from G, whoever, at least that's what I heard Chairman Jackson say. Anybody, so long as they were from G, they could vote. And that was so wrong. When I heard of it, I said I just told myself things were going wrong, really wrong. Talking about that ad hoc committee, there are many members from the minimal LGA who were the leadership. And Chairman Jackson has already called some. But I'm going to add the prominent name of Winnie Lobadi. I'm going to also add that of Kenneth. And I think there are several others. But again, they did this to the exclusion of a good number of
Now you are calling these names in respect to what?
members of that ad hoc that Chairman Jackson referred to.
Okay.
Yes, members of that ad hoc. And that was the foundation of this turmoil, or part of the foundation of this turmoil that Momo County is now buried in.
So essentially, what the both of you are saying is that these committee members, the people who went and created another Momo forum, are responsible for the divide in Momo?
They are. And I will tell you, there's every reason to think that they were right up to the federal level, to the powers that be, the topmost level. They knew what was happening. They might have been on their mission because a report was given them as to what was happening in Momo, and their ears were deaf. Some of us pointed to the traps, to the problem that we're going to run into, but it didn't matter. They didn't care a hoot. And things went the way they did. I mean, there's a lot more to say, but let me for now end here.
All right. Now, going to Momo County elections, you, Chairman Ephraim, Chairman Jackson, Chairman Patrick, have essentially said you don't recognize the elections that took place in Momo. I guess Ambassadors like to know what was wrong in that election that you contest up to today.
Correct. Let me give you a narration of things that happened in Momo right from 2020, after the draft of 2020. There was this clamor from certain federally placed people. Before I go ahead, there's a rule in a rule or a constitution, a point, not the constitution, but there's a rule. Federally placed members of a county do not interfere. The word interfere, I use it intentionally. They do not interfere in the running of the LGAs or the counties. They are not allowed to do it. Yeah, you can see how many of them were playing very important roles.
So you are referring to members of cabinet who were, you said, according to your word, interfering.
Yes, interfering.
So essentially, what one of your point is that members of cabinet came down to Momo and interfered within the local, I should call it, politics of Momo.
Correct. And you will see that, I mean, among these names that we have given you, the Maratugons, the Aringwas, those are federal officials. The other cabinet
Were they
members,
qualified to vote, though?
No, I think that, I don't know, I wasn't present at that, in the election hall that day. I do not think they voted. I'm told the people who voted.
The question is whether they were qualified to vote. I mean, yes, federal officials should not come and intervene in local elections, but then are they qualified to vote in the LGA or the county?
I think they could vote in the LGAs. They could vote. Just like simple participants.
So therefore, you are saying the problem is not that they voted. The problem is that they perform a rule much more bigger than casting their vote.
Correct.
Can you then make some clarification?
Cases,
I think we want to get a picture of what exactly you think or you saw them do to influence the result of that election.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm talking about the creation of the ad hoc committee. Some of them are the ones that signed to call for election in Momo. They are penning their signature. Chairman Jackson said it. If you look at that list, the people that signed, their names are present on that list. And that is not allowed. But let me go ahead. When we concluded with the Momo County draft 2020, there was this barrage of calls and audios from Comrade Aringwa saying that, one, Mogamo was not going to participate in Momo. They were not going to provide that 20% or something like that to the Momo County. And even before then, she called me so many times, pushing me to take down Chairman Jackson.
Who called you?
Comrade Aringwa.
Call you to take down Chairman Jackson, the same Jackson you have here with you.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit. How did she do this?
Calls, conversations.
Okay.
And it's not one, it's not two. I'm not the only person. No,
she called you. She called you and said, I want you to take down Jackson to replace Jackson as the chair of the county or what?
Correct. That we should conduct county elections.
What did she say was a problem with Chairman Jackson?
She said he was incompetent. There were no specifics. I told her, I do not work like that. I am a chairperson of LGA. We work together. Come and let's sit down in the executive committee and talk about the problems that we have, present what we have, and let's look at how to fix it. So, but she kept on doing that. But usually with her, when she realizes that you're not a pushover, and clearly I'm not one, she closes her door, she shouts at you, and goes away. And again, I'll tell you, I reported this somewhere, and somebody told me I was reporting exactly his own story. So it went on like that. There were audios, conversations. She was pulling Mogamo. Mogamo was not going to give out their 20% to the county. I think it's 20%. I'm not mistaken there. That's
50.
That money. Oh, 50.
50.
Okay.
Mogamo was not going to give out what?
The 50% to that money set aside from the draft as money for the county. No, the LGA had money.
It was a rule there that the LGAs should give 50% of their draft to the counties. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And yes. Mogamo refused to give theirs.
They refused. In the end, they refused. They did not. They didn't give that share to
Up
the
to
county.
today, they never.
Up to today.
Did Menemo,
unless-
Widikum, and Ngi Njikwa, did they give theirs?
Menemo complied.
How about
Menemo
Njikwa?
complied. Njikwa complied too.
Yes,
How about
everybody
Ngi?
complied except Mogamo.
Except Mogamo. All right.
Right.
And what did Mogamo say was the reason for not complying?
Well, the fairy godmother has said it. Comrade Aringwa has said, that's my understanding. First of all, they were in so much chaos. They were in so. Comrade Aringwa had torn Mogamo into various factions just to have her way. Okay, so whatever the reason they had, they did not comply. They did not comply. And, at that time, Mogamo was under a caretaker committee. So, I think November 2020, they conducted their own elections to have the chairman and the rest of it. Immediately after these elections, well, the first person to announce the election results was Comrade Aringwa. And again, this is part of the reason many people say she has her legs spread everywhere. She was the one to announce the election results.
Don't let her fans hear that,
Well, her tentacles, her tentacles. She has her tentacles spread everywhere. You don't want to hear the word leg.
Mr. Chairman, hold on. Let me get back to Chairman Jackson because he was the chairman at that moment in time when this draft took place. Chairman Jackson, tell us, what did you gather? What did Mogamo say was the reason for not complying with their 50% to the county?
All right, I will tell you, I will tell everybody. I want Ambazonians to listen because some of these things have been going on and people do not really understand what is going on. Before I say that, there was on the election day in Gi, what even got so many people so angry was that these guys went and brought people from Ground Zero to be voting on that day. They sent the link.
What do you mean by bring people from Ground Zero? You mean
there were people
logging
on the Zoom
in from Ground Zero into the Zoom
Yes.
to vote in the election?
Yes.
Now you are
Yes,
referring
that is
to
how
Momo
bad it was.
election, not Ngi, correct?
Ngi,
Okay.
to Ngi
Ngi,
election.
okay.
To Ngi election. Yes.
Okay.
So that is one of the reasons that got so many people frustrated and even left the meeting. They brought people from the Ground Zero to vote on that day. So let me
Now,
move
why
forward.
could people from Ground Zero not vote, though?
Because they were not
What
participating
barred
in
them
the
from voting?
because we have bylaws.
Okay.
The electoral code that we came up that disqualified them. And again, for security reasons.
Okay.
All right. No, so let's move forward. No, after the draft, Aringwa said Mogamo is not going to comply. Mogamo has to go their way. They gave me a series of reasons. They kept moving the goalpost. For instance, they said Chairman Fongang, who was then the chairman of Mogamo, that was the Restoration Council passed him a vote of no confidence and he stepped aside. But he was a county treasurer and was doing a fantastic job. They said he has to be off the county before they can comply. I set a committee headed by the Secretary General of the Restoration Council, Lobati, to look into the issue. When they looked into the issue, they came back, they made the recommendation, and Fongang stepped aside. On the same day they gave us the report and Fongang was stepping aside, Judge Fon, who was the lead of the caretaker committee of Mogamo, said, no, Mogamo is not going to comply because Momo does not have a restoration council and a constitution. So my question to them was, why can't you guys join the county, form a committee to draw the constitution and do a restoration council? And mind you, at the time we were talking, there was 0 person from Mogamo at the level of the county, none. So I asked them, you guys don't take positions at the county, who do you want to work? Now, they said they were not going to comply. They said they were going to, actually, it came to a point where they said they were a county. You remember in some of the APP meetings, they were referring to them as Mogamo County.
Yes.
Even a slip of the tongue came out from the president's mouth in one of the APP meetings, and I had to speak out. I said, do we say Mogamo County here? So they had made up their mind that they want to be on their own. Now, that's how Mogamo cut themselves away from the county. The resources, Mogamo has never given a dime to the functioning of the county. And this will take us to the draft money, which is, I believe, is a different issue we're going to handle, because I really want to talk on that. This election thing, when you see people in the cabinet, people that are not representative in the APP, come up and form an ad hoc committee to organize election behind the back of a constituent body. And you have, this is the bad part in it. Barrister John Fu, when IOC was going around in Momo during the intergovernmental audit, and with DSS, with a host of other persons, they wanted to find out how more is Momo County complying to the aspiration of the interim government. When they noticed that Chairman Ghana, Barrister Ghana, was not attending county meetings, they have not complied with the draft, and they were not participating in county activity.
Now, Chairman Ghana is or was the chair for Mogamo.
He is.
He
He's the
was
chair of
now
Mogamo.
standing elections to become Momo County chair or coordinator, as I call it.
No, at the time of the certification after the 2020 draft, he was still the Mogamo chairperson.
Okay.
So now, Barrister Ghana asked him, 2-3 months ago, I asked you, why are you not complying with the county you told me that you are going to? I am here today again. They are still complaining that you are not complying. As a matter of fact, I wrote a personal letter to the president. I sent one to Anderson. I wrote a letter about Aringwa and her activities. I sent it to the president. That was before she was upgraded to undersecretary at the Treasury. So when Barrister Fru asked him, he said he was going to comply with the county. They asked him when? 2 months, 3 months? He did not give an answer. And up to today, he did not comply. And that brings us to this point. Barrister Fru, you came to supervise and certify election in Momo with the rest of IOC and DSS and ethics and home affairs. Did you in any form or shape ask the Mogamo chairman, did you comply with Momo County before now that you are running to be the chairperson of Momo? Are we not doing are we not hurting other LGA chairs that have been here working with the county, supporting the county to stand? You waited for 1 year and you are coming here today just to run for election. Those are some of the things that I expected Dr. Anderson and structures that the interim government created to stand up to the little man and said that there's a problem here with Mogamo. And that's why Chairman Ephraim and Chairman Patrick wrote a complaint and sent it to the presidency and sent it to Anderson and said, there is a serious problem here. They refer it to the ethics committee. I don't know how that was an ethics problem, but they sent it there anyway. ethics committee listened to that. Instead of making their recommendation and sending it back to the president who sent the complaint to them, then they came and said they are certifying elections. That is the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my adult life.
Now, before
This
we
is just
get
a
there,
banana
before
report.
you get there, you've mentioned a petition sent to ethics committee, sent to the president, also sent to the vice president, I believe, correct?
Yes, I wrote to the president about
Now,
the
what
activities of
was,
Ringwa.
okay, what decision, what action did the president or the vice president, we've heard that of the ethics committee trying to certify the election, before ethics committee went about certifying the election? Did you hear from the president? Did you hear from the vice president?
No.
Okay. But then,
And my whole complaint with Aringwa, when I sent that complaint to the president, was that as the Restoration Council, no, as the resource mobilization coordinator, Aringwa was not participating in the county affairs. 1 year, no contributions, not attending county meetings. Then she was promoted to undersecretary at the treasury.
Yes.
Yes. And I asked a question. In our constitution, our Amba peace plan, before somebody get into a cabinet position, there is some vetting that is being done. I wasn't contacted. I think that I should have known what do I think about Aring moving up from a director to an undersecretary at in the IG. So how is it that she just transitioned from there to here, and we're only seeing it? But meanwhile, this lady is causing a lot of havoc in the county.
Now, when you
So
talk
when
about
I
a lot of
start
havoc
open-
in the county, I think Chairman Ephraim mentioned some of it. Can you be specific as to what some of these things were?
All right, let me tell you briefly some of the things. When Chairman Ghana demoted, let me start from the beginning. She was the one who officially announced that Momo is not going to participate in Momo County. And the president knows about it. Everybody knows about it. She is the one, during the draft, she refused that we should not put a basket for Patasan. So I said, I am the county chair. I decide on that. She said no. It became a struggle.
What was her
Patasan's
argument against a basket for Paitasan?
Well, she just said we don't need to do it. That was all.
Okay.
So I had to talk with Nijo on the day of the draft to announce that basket. She was the one, when Ghana demoted Commando and promoted some other persons, a pure defense issue, the first person we heard that audio from was Aringwa. And I called Barrister Ghana and asked him, do you know the implication of what you're doing? Is Aringwa the spokesperson of Moamo? He said no. I said, is she the spokesperson of Moamo Defense Council? She said no. How come she's the one announcing a defense decision like that? First of all, when you made that decision, did you even consult the county to find out if this person you are promoting or that person you are upgrading, are they working with the county? Because when you just unilaterally make such decisions and allow Aringwa to go out and make those decisions, people can die. Because there's going to be friction back home, and it was that bad. So now that point, Aringwa, there's an audio out there when one of the fighters went to ground one and was picked up and locked up, and the whole county was in serious distress. It's an issue that, and I appreciate the presidency because they reacted promptly to that, because they helped. The only people that did not help was Moamo. The only people that did not help were the Moamo people. And Aringwa, instead of keeping quiet, there's an audio out there where she said, let that fighter rot and die in jail. Who is that callous to make such a statement about a fighter? That is how disruptive this lady has been.
What
to Momo.
beef did she have to fry with the fighter?
Well, because there has been a constant back and forth between the Mogamo RGA and the commando camp. And this fighter happened to be related to commando. But then this fighter was the fighter that was leading the marshal, the Momo marshals. Because Aringwa did not want anything, because this is why I question something that they are trying to build to help the county, and you see people trying to destroy. Who are they working for? So those are some of the questions that I can't answer today. And given what the prevailing circumstances, I still think that we need to look closely on the activity of some of these individuals.
All right. Thank you. Let me get back to Chairman Ephraim. We are trying to wrap this so that we can then open the phone lines and get the contributions from the members of the public. The question,
Secretary Chris,
yes, sir.
I hope we are still going to talk on the draft.
Go ahead. All right. Okay, start with that, and then I'll go to Chairman Ephraim. Go ahead. What is wrong? What was wrong with it? What is wrong with the draft?
Yes. Because I need to make this very clear. Because we have audios out there where people have accused me of embezzling draft money. Momo drafted $650,000, no action. I embezzle money and stuff like that. And this mostly came from ill-intentioned soothsayers, and I'll continue to call somebody like Ochiba Nelson, because he's the one that has been masterminding that information out there. Dr. Abiedu too from GI, and then Aringwa has personally said that too. Well, for Aringwa, I think I'm already used to her lies, because at one time she went and put information in the cabinet that was training boys with the Konenge IG in Nigeria, which was total false, you know. But something like that, to discuss with your county men and women, you took it to the cabinet forum just to blackmail me. This lady tried to throw the kitchen sink on people all the time. So anyway, let's go back to the draft. I want Ambazonian to understand this. Momo drafted $360,000. Of this $360,
you are referring to the exact figure that came in.
Yes,
correct.
Yeah, I will tell you why. Of the $650, $350 were drafted for Mogamo alone, and the rest was shared around, with the rest of the RGS. This money that was drafted was never drafted to the county account. Let's have it straight once and for all.
Where was
this money
drafted?
was drafted? It was drafted to the various RGS.
Okay.
Ngi money went to Ngi. Njikwa money went to Njikwa. Mogamo went to Mogamo. As I know, during the reporting, even though there was some faulty reporting from Mogamo, they had collected fiscal cash 119,000.
Okay.
Menemo collected about close to 90.
Okay.
He collected close to, I think about 40 or 50 something. So this money was in the hands of the RGS. When I hear this noise out there, people say that $650,000 was drafted to the county and there is no action. My question is, do they know what they're talking about? Go to the various LGA chairs and ask them, what were you doing with your draft money? This is what came to the county. Momo gave 20,000. You gave 20,000. Njikwa gave about 10,000, if I'm not mistaken. Widikum gave about 5,000. That is, well, in a sum, I think 55,000 came to the county. That's all. And the county was charged to build a county marshal from scratch, which means you feed them, you take care of the hospital bills, transportation, buying of equipment, everything for 55,000. That is what the county had for all this noise that is going around. And in the guidelines, it was specified that each county is supposed to have county marshals. Remember, I told you that Momo did not give a dime.
Correct.
Now, for the fighters, when they gave that money, the next point was, we need your fighters. Each LGA was supposed to send 10 boys. Do you know that? Let me shock you here. Olengi succeeded to send about 6 boys. The rest of the LGAs, there was no fighter that was sent.
But hold on there.
Now,
Hold on there. Even before that, we knew there were the Terminators in Batibo. There were fighters in Ngi, and I think in Jikwa. So if only Ngi succeeded to send 6 or so people, as you mentioned, where were the Terminators? Where did they belong? Why were they not in? Who was in charge of them?
At the point, I'm giving you the facts as they are, because the LGS in Momo were pretty independent of themselves. The chairperson, I was only watching for a very long time. So we keep pressing, send us the boy. I asked Kenneth, give us the boys. But of course, I knew that Kenneth did not even have fighters.
And who was Kenneth?
That was the defense chair for Menemo. But he would keep telling lies. There are boys somewhere, there are boys left and right, but he had nobody. Because at the end of the day, we did not see the boys he sent to us, and I didn't even see the one that he had. Then Mogamo, well, they were out there because it got to the point where Mogamo was now cooperating with Ngoketunja. They were sending boys to go and train in Ngoketunja. So there was like another county cooperating with another county. Now, if people come and make noise on social media, the county raised 65,000 and embezzled 65,000. These are the facts. Tell me, what in your position, what can you do when you have LGAs that were independent, took their money, no fighters were sent to the county? So how do you expect the county to work? So the problems in Momo is Momo people.
So the people out there, though, will be asking, if you had only 6 people sent in from Ngi and you had, is it 51 or 52,000? What did you do with it then?
Well, we did. This is what we did. We bought equipments, and in every meeting, we presented those equipments, which I don't feel like showing them here. We presented these equipments to the Momo people, and we asked them, we have these equipments, we are waiting for you guys to send the boys to come and use them. Because if you look at it, if you have 30,000, that is just about 10 sticks.
Right.
So 55,000, that's not a lot of money based on what the boys had, the feeding for me, the transportation and everything.
The 28,000, hold on there, the $28,000 that I learned was squandered somewhere on ground 1 with the boys being arrested. Did you send them, or some other LGA send them from Momo?
Say that again?
The $28,000 that I learned was squandered when some boys were sent to ground one. Did you send the boys, or they were sent by a different LGA?
Okay, this is something I want Ambazonian to learn today.
Okay.
Before there was a guideline after 2020 draft, nobody was supposed to use the draft money until they get certification from DSS. Now, while the rest of the LGAs in Momo were struggling to meet the certification regulation, because there were certain items that need to be checked. So the DSS boss will come to Momo, we go through the process, and he will physically or visually see some of the things that they need. And then if we are 100 compliance, then they will ask us, okay, go ahead and use the draft money. But to my greatest shock, this is a shock in it, Mogamo had started using their draft money before we even get the certification. I did not know. But I knew that there was a lot of resistance from Mogamo, but I didn't know why. It got to a point that somebody called me behind that, do you know that Mogamo has sent boys somewhere with $27,000 and about $28,000 has been taken from the account. I said, what? So I immediately got to work. But at that time, the caretaker committee was so hostile and they were not telling me so much. But I called the president and I asked him, said, I actually reported the issue to him, that this is a very lofty program you came up with, but this is what the Mogamo people are doing, and they're already getting into the monies without certification. He said he will be coming to see about it, which eventually he came to Momo, trying to solve the problem between us and Mogamo, but just double around. It came to my notice that now that money was, when I confronted the Mogamo caretaker committee so hard, they said, listen, that money was approved by the presidency for them to use it. I said, you're not serious. They said, yes. I said, how come? He said, well, the president approved it. I said, through who? Said Don Wannabe. I pick up my phone, I called Don Wannabe. And somebody else gave me the intel that I can't call his name now, that Don Wannabe was involved in the deal. I called Don Wannabe. I asked him, why do you have to come to Momo County and inject yourself into this draft that we're trying to get certification without appropriate consultation? He said, well, the president, I work with the president, I went to his instructions. And I said, but the president laid out these guidelines. How could you be going against, you are one of the advisors to the president. How can you be going against those guidelines? He said, he told me he can't give me so much information about it, but that's all he can tell me. So one time I took it to the president and asked him, I am told that you are aware of this financial scandal that money was taken from the Mogamo before we got certification. Is that true, Mr. President? He said, well, I saw an opening somewhere. I only advised them. I did not authorize them to use the money. Those are his words to me.
Okay.
And I left it at that. So everybody can make their judgment. So that's all I knew about the $28,000 scandal that happened in Menemo.
So essentially, the $28,000 was a project carried out by Mogamo.
Yes.
All right. Let me get back to Chairman Ephraim, and again, the question that has been asked out there, Chairman Ephraim, is if Mogamo did not contribute to the national or county coffers, Menemo did, Ingi did, Njikwa did, but nothing happened. People didn't see action in any of your LGAs, in spite of how much you raised. What happened? What went wrong?
I was trying to tell you what you asked a question earlier about our contestations about the elections in Momo. And I was in the course of saying that, but some other issue came up. So, when the chairman of Mogamo was voted in November 2020, Comrade Ghana, what I did was, I think in a matter of 2 days, I placed him my first call. The purpose of that call was to congratulate him and say, welcome on board, let's work together. Especially in that atmosphere that existed at that time, the atmosphere created by Comrade Ringwa, that of, okay, Mogamo is out, and this and that, and so much noise. So I thought that some level-headedness was going to prevail. And I placed a call. He didn't take the call. He didn't call back. I placed other calls to him. Now, and true to type, he did not attend Momo meetings. It was full protest from them, all the way. He did not join us in the meetings. Decision making, all they said was they were not part of Momo. So, the only time I had a conversation with Chairman Ghana was around the time he came, I think Chairman Jackson just talked about that. When he came up and was talking about elections, Chairman Jackson should step down. I mean, that was their popular cry. He and Comrade Ringwa. All they wanted was for Chairman Jackson to step down. Elections to be conducted. So Secretary Anderson Kejan came down, and there were some meetings with the chairs because there had to be a transition. Chairman Jackson did not say he wasn't stepping down from Momo. There had to be a transition. And so Secretary Anderson came. I remember one particular meeting in which, a meeting that I attended, Chairman Jackson referred to it. And we talked about the things that we're going to do. And I remember this question from Comrade Ghana: when is Chairman Jackson stepping down? How many days? We said there had to be a transition. So let me say a few days after that, I don't know, it's a few days or maybe a couple of days, that was the first time he called me. And I had a conversation with him. And he said, well, we're going to have elections, the ad hoc committee, those are the elections he was referring to. Elections organized by the members of the ad hoc committee, championed by some of those federal officials that I've already reported to you about. And in the course of my conversation with him, the issue of who should be chair, who was going to be chair of Momo, I told him who I thought, whatever process we were taking was going to be chair. My belief at that time was that we're following a process that we had put on the way in the presence of, I believe, Secretary Anderson of Homeland Security during that meeting, and we're going to choose a chair. So I gave him who my choice was, whom I thought was the right person. Of course, being known to all that it wasn't me. He asked me about the qualities of that person, and I told him there's somebody that has worked in Momo County from his LGA. I mean, smooth work. He understands the problems of the Momo County. He has the experience. He's cool. He's collected. And then a question that came up was, why not you? That is me. I told him no. I could not be the chair. And even before that, I told my constituents, my executive members of my LGA, no, I could not be the chair of Momo County. I did not want to be. And I made sure I told them that I was serious. I wasn't just playing that Ahijo kind of politics where he says, I don't want to be president, I don't want to be president just to see who else will rear his head for him to cut. I told them I was serious. No, don't even nominate me. Okay. That was it about that conversation. That was the first time I was talking with him. When he came, I was inquiring about who should be chair. Then, the next thing that came clear to me was ad hoc committee was conducting, okay, they conduct elections, I should attend. I said, no, I am not going to attend that meeting to give a stamp of approval to what they were doing, that charade they were doing there.
Now, who put on this ad hoc committee is the same committee you refer to as infiltrators?
I would only call them infiltrators. They were doing the wrong thing because, first of all, the members of that committee that did not, whose role it wasn't to do that. According to the rules of the APP, you don't interfere in the running of the administration of your county.
So why did you allow them do what they did? Why didn't you challenge them and say, hey, you're not supposed to be here?
Yeah, I did disagree.
Okay.
I did disagree. I was in I think I was in that forum, and I always told my people there is a way in which everything needs to be done. Something is wrong. Okay, we admit it. How should we fix it? Doing this in the ad hoc committee, not involving the current chair, was the wrong thing to do. I kept sounding that alarm, and I kept sounding that alarm. We are taking the wrong course. You cannot kick somebody who has been so involved in the running of the county and the boys at home and all that. Can I kick him to the curb? Let's ease him out. That was the expression I often used. We'll ease him out. He's going out. We can't kick him to make it smooth. Now, to them, they had all the power. They had the backing of the powers that be, and everything that was going to go smooth, smooth, smooth. Jackson is out, somebody else in. So that is how things went. On the day of the election, of course I wasn't. Several of them placed calls to me and I declined. I wasn't going to endorse that charade. Anyway, so coming to the issue of money at home. My LGA did a good draft. And of course, we went after the money. And some of the money came in. Like Chairman Jackson stated there, it's about 80,000. Let me let the world know that in Momo, there is a treasurer, there's a financial secretary, there's a chairman. The chairman approves of decisions that are made by the executive to send money here, send money there. None of the money, none, goes to the chairperson. None of the money came to me. And I was very happy about that. So, the decisions that we made, I approved them. And the treasurer dispatched the money for buying, for whatever, everything. That's how Momo operated. I had nothing to do with the treasury. I contributed my own money, like any other person, and I put it into the treasurer. I sent it to her. Anyway, so the money came down, the amount that came to us, and decisions were made and were approved. Very well intentioned. Momo bought a lot of equipment. Momo bought a lot of equipment. And I think talking about the equipment is going to take us, or what happened to the equipment is going to take us another day here. But let me just give you a quick summary. They bought a lot of equipment. They came from where they bought the equipment. On their way, they stayed in Mogamo. Good equipment. To the credit of those boys, that was the best purchase that Momo ever did. I didn't get you. Your micro.
What happened to the equipment?
Yeah, it came and stayed there in Mogamo. They said, oh, there are problems in Momo. Menemo is, let me just give you
So
the direct translation.
essentially, you are saying that Mogamo confiscated equipment meant for Menemo.
We can call it that way, or call it temporary confiscation.
Was it the same?
the-
So were they, if you say they were temporarily, was it subsequently released?
Eventually it was released, but not in the entirety of the equipment. First of all, the granules that we bought, forget, they're all gone. They are still there. They were in Mogamo, if I'm not mistaken, I think 4 months and more. And we kept trying to bring them home. Every day we made all the efforts together with the defense chief, Kenneth, and the other defense person, Masivia. We tried hard to bring these boys home. And the continuous complaint was Menemo was dirty. That's the word used. Menemo was dirty and needed to be cleansed. Because even with the equipment, according to them, they're just going to, the equipment was going to be seized and they're going to die and all that. So, well, we went there, we went along with them, and we did the most that we could for them to then go home with that equipment. Of course, with a stay of more than 4 months in another LGA, a lot, the bullets were all gone.
Now,
Ghana.
did you consult Mogamo to say, hey, or when you complained to say, hey, our equipment is in the keeping of your guys, what reply did you get?
Mogamo was consulted indirectly. Let me tell you
Why
something.
indirectly? What do you mean?
Let me tell you something. When the equipment came and got and was delaying there in Mogamo, the acquisition of equipment is something that has to be done so secretly that if you let it go to the public, there's going to be this hue and cry. Everybody's going, oh, well, so much noise, and a lot of things are going to be released that should not be out there. So we try to keep this information, even from executive members. This, from the beginning, this information was known only to about 4 of us, the defense people and myself. And we hoped that was going to be maybe 2 days, 3 days. Before long, it was weeks and then months. So it came to a
Mr.
point
Chairman, let's do this. Time is not on our side. We're probably going to get you both coming back for this same discussion. But let's touch on this. The chairman of Njikwa, who is not here, and you, the chairman of Menemo, we understand there is a conspiracy by the group you mentioned from the beginning of this conversation, a group that is trying to get rid of Njikwa chair, get rid of Menemo chair. I guess the same way you assume Ingi chair was gotten rid of. Give us, paint us a little picture of what is going on and what you see to be the illegality in that exercise.
Okay, thank you. Pursuant to my rejection of what I saw as a charade at the county level, a number of executive members of my LGA said they wanted Menemo to endorse Chairman Ghana as the county chair. So the clamor began. And after some time, they refused to attend executive meetings. We're having our executive meetings every week. They started to not attend those meetings. And before long, they were gone, completely gone. So, with that, they took other steps. There are many things to talk about, but let me just summarize. There are many things to talk about. So, eventually, they told me I had made decisions about the LGA and they're not in agreement with where is Menemo. Menemo is lost. And we said, please, before you get into anything, we need a strong Menemo in order to build a strong Momo. Yeah, we are going to disagree on certain things. You don't vote a leader and then it becomes a yes person will just accept everything that is said out there. I did not attend those elections, those Momo County elections, and I take responsibility. I said it over and over. They were not happy with that. And so there's this force from the powers that be that passes through the people of Momo County. And it was stated that they held a meeting somewhere and said anybody who is not supporting, who did not attend the Momo County meeting elections, what they call elections, was going to have a vote of no confidence. So Secretary Anderson Kejang has come to my LGA several times and held meetings behind my back. Let me tell you one. One of those meetings involved looking at problems in Momo, in Menemo. I just saw a text in my executive forum. I saw a text summoning or announcing a meeting. The morning, I think morning of the meeting also. And behold, that same morning, I had a meeting with the president, Dr. Sako. Same time. I asked myself, is it proper for the Secretary of State for Defense, no, for Homeland, is it proper for him to arrange meetings with some persons from my LGA and I only see invitations to the meeting? I think we could, at that time, see the consequence of that kind of thing. A clash between those two meetings. Of course, I didn't attend the meeting, but at exactly the same time, I was having a meeting with the president, Dr. Sako. So he has been doing this. He has been doing this. So basically, he is undermining LGAs.
Who is undermining LGAs?
LGAs in Momo. I don't know if he does that elsewhere, but he's been undermining LGAs.
Yes, who are you referring to as he?
Made in place. Dr. Kejan.
Okay.
These are LGAs that he came and made in place. All these LGAs are found under the leadership of Secretary Ambrose. His own job so far has been to undermine them and kick people who are ardent members of these LGAs in every way.
So are you saying that? Are you saying the Secretary, Dr. Kajang, comes into your LGA, you are the chairman, and he summons an election and meetings and elections, and you are not consulted?
Correct. That's what I'm saying. It's not once. I just see a notice of, the last one, I just saw an invitation from him to a meeting to do something, but I think in that meeting they passed their what they call a motion of confidence or whatever they call it. So he's been doing that. That's why he's been doing Menemo. You see, this is not somebody's single. This is not one person's effort. This is a group of people who are organizing this, who are doing all this. It's a group of people, and he is one of them. Perhaps I would think that is just an errant person. It's an errant person. If you don't support Mogamo that supported nobody. Mogamo did not support Momo in any way for one full year, even though we begged and we pleaded, and we even attempted to meet their conditions. But like Chairman Jackson described, they kept moving the goalpost. If you didn't support Comrade Ghana, then you were no good.
All right. Again, time is so much against us. We are all, going towards 3 hours now. I like to ask, where do you see the interim government leadership going wrong in all that has happened in Momo? Let me start with Chairman Jackson. What would the interim government leadership have done differently?
The microphone.
Okay, go on, please. Go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Yes. That is because everything, well, just like all the problems in Momo that happen at the level of LGAs, I get blamed for, but there are some specific things that the government could have done. If the president appointed Dr. Kajan, if the president appointed Dika and a host of other people that are in the cabinet that are actually acting like cronies now, if he took time to address these issues as they came up, we should have been somewhere else. When I wrote a letter complaining about the activities of Aringwa in Momo, if he addressed those issues square on, we should not have been where we are today. Remember, there was a time Aringwa contacted me to take the president to the ethics committee because the president happened to visit a village in Moamo. They call it the Ngianek. I don't know. I don't know the right pronunciation. I refused to do that. I said the president has the right to go to anywhere in Ambazonia.
Why was Irengwa asking you, plotting to take the president to the ethics committee?
Well, because it is ego. She has some kind of a huge ego because she thought that the president came to Muramo without informing her, beg your pardon, without informing her. So she was surprised that a group of persons from that locality had organized to the president to visit Mohamo and she wasn't aware. She got so mad. She met Chairman Fongang to do it. Chairman Fongang was dragging his legs. He came to me. I told him, no, I'm not somebody you push around. The president can do whatever he wants, visit whoever he wants to visit. I can't stop him. I said, we're not going to do it. So she went back to Fongang, and Fongang actually wrote a letter and sent to and referred the president to the ethics committee, headed by the sister-in-law, Dorotingwa. Now, so that is where I started having problems with that ring, because I was not that type of pushover. Okay, when you see things like this, Mr. President, it is time to let go. Because we have people with huge ego that it must be their way or the highway, then it's a problem. So if you have somebody like the Home Affairs, whose job is to deconstruct what is in place, it took us a lot of time to build these RGS. I'm saying this because I'm one of the pioneers. He doesn't know what it took me to build Mogamo, build Njikwa, build Menemo. Chairman Ephraim is here. I was in their forum until it got mature before I left. But Secretary Kejan came to Momo the first time to organize election, county election. He did not inform me. I received a text from the vice chair. He came back when they did the ad hoc committee. I was not included in the ad hoc committee. Dr. Kejan did not even have the courtesy to call me to inform me that, okay, there's a problem, I'm coming to do election in your county. Which country acts like this, Secretary Chris? Is this the type of country we want to build? And when the Undersecretary Frank of Ngogetunja wrote me that chairman come in the elections today, I told him I'm not part of that fraud. And I asked Undersecretary Frank, this is what I asked him. I have the text with me. I asked him, you were here barely 2 weeks ago. We have concluded on a transition for Momo. Can you explain to me why you are here again for elections? And under what circumstances are those elections being carried out? He said, well, I'm just representing my department. I said, good for you. That is the government. I'm trying to highlight the activities that the government could have done to stop this thing. And if you go into other LGL counties, they are doing the same thing. Remember, in one APP meeting, DCAP and Kejan made a statement. They said they are trying to get rid of some leadership in some of the LGS and county. How is it that appointees, people that have been appointed to help, government think that they have the audacity and powers to affect and make changes to elected individuals at the level of the counties. And that is why you have issues like all these 1,000 executive orders. When you start ruling with executive orders, there's a problem. It portrays some weakness.
All right, please, no time. Let's take one more issue. I will give you 2 minutes, 2 minutes to Chairman Ephraim, and then I'll open the phone lines. Chairman Ghana, lawyer Ghana, precisely was voted as the chair of Momo, to which you guys have vehemently refused to work with him. As of today, he is not been admitted in the APP, which is the largest intergovernmental forum out there. What will it take for the other chairs in Momo to recognize him as the chair of the county? Some call it coordinators, but I have issues with that. But what will it take for Menemo, Njikwa, I guess in Gidos, to recognize him as the chair of Momo, or you have resolved never to?
Can I come in?
Yes, please, come in.
Okay, yeah, so as a matter of principle, you do not lead a body that you rejected, that you pulled out of. If you're not a member of the United Nations, you cannot stand for elections at the United Nations. You're not a member of the Arab League, you don't participate in decision-making in the Arab League. You're not a member of a county, you did not participate in the county, you cannot be in leadership. Can you just parachute yourself into the county and claim leadership? It just doesn't go that way. And I've said this at all levels of government. Doesn't make sense to me. They have to follow one and then lead when an opportunity comes. You cannot just come from nowhere and call it and organize your charade of elections. By the way, those elections involved 2 chairpersons from Widikum. For all my time in Momo County, holding meetings, doing consultations, I had never known of a vice chair of Widikum. It didn't exist. And as far as I know, does not exist. Yes, somebody showed up from there on that day, I was told, because they said there were 10 people present. 10 people, no, 10, there was supposed to be 10. I stayed away, my vice chair stayed away, the chair of Njikwa stayed away, so there were 7. So I presume that all the other LGAs had 2 persons each.
They have said that at least 9 of 10 representatives were in there, and so those of you who were absent constituted the minority. There was a quorum for that election. What do you say?
Well, if we want to go by that, what is the problem? Why are things not working? They voted, right? Whatever they did, they voted for him. So what is the problem now? If they want to go by that. There is a right way to do everything, and there's a wrong way. If you go the wrong way, you're essentially a bull in a china shop. There's an easy way of doing things smoothly and everything in order. There's also a way to break up everything. And I think they prefer to follow that route of breaking up everything because they believe that they had the support from the powers that be. And indeed, I think they had. But us things will not be where they are now. So, what is the way forward? I'll tell you. Right the wrongs. Right the wrongs. The first wrong is if you are not a member of a body, you should not participate in decision making in that body. Simple. You're not a member of an LGO, or a member of a county, or a member of a country, let's say United Nations, African Union, name it. You cannot participate in decision making there. Let alone just make us put us into leadership. Okay, so the question is, all right, he is the leader now, as many people, some of those people will want to believe, and just like he did when he refused to join the county, I said, okay, I'm not. There's only one LGA in Ambazonia, one Secretary Chris, until one that ever said they were pulling out of their county. Only one. And which is that? Mogamo.
All right.
Is this acceptable? No. I stand on that point. I stand on that point to death.
All right. Thank you. Comrade Johnson, in 1 minute, what will be acceptable as a solution to the current division in Momo?
Okay, Secretary Chris, I'll probably at 30 minutes. Let me just quickly rush over this before I get to your point. Yes, you mentioned something about the county marshals, which I probably told you that the county marshals program eventually we moved away from, since we could not have fighters from the LGAs, we constituted the marshals under a commander, which the other group tried to bring down unsuccessfully. They are still there, and they'll be getting to work and working under the new chairperson. Now, one thing I want the audience to note: for the whole of Momo, only Momo County has a bank account that is not under somebody's name. It's an NGO. I mean, it's a non-profit status NGO. That's the level of transparency at the level of Momo. And at the time when I was a chairperson, I never received, no money goes to the treasurer through me. It goes straight to the treasury. I only sign the invoices, and all the bills, defense bills emanated from the defense. So for those who are running out there and making noise because they're trying to see what can kill me, they are wasting their time. And then for me, concerning the issue with Barrister Ghana, first of all, Barrister Ghana should have the civility to even call these chair people behind the scene and talk to them. You know, when people have issues, you can call them behind and you guys can talk things out. This is not a death sentence. But when you have somebody that does not even have the humility to even call you and talk to you, that's why we are where we are. He thinks that because he has the support of the structures, he doesn't need any other person. And like what Chairman Ephraim said, how is it that, Mr. Ghana, for all this while, you don't even know the chair people that you have at the time, and you think that you want to go and lead them? Do something. So to me, Ghana should do something, and the interim government, the Home Affairs, should call a roundtable for people to talk. When you come for talking, you're not coming to tell them what you want. You want to listen to them, and you guys agree on what to do. But that is contrary to what Secretary Kajan does. He thinks that he has arrived because he's the Home Affairs Secretary, and he can declare, he can write people's will and do everything. There's just so much arrogance coming from that department. And that's why we have things the way they are. Then I will end by saying that I'm not going to end this discussion without sending my condolences to the fallen heroes. And I talk about Commando. And I remember when you started, you said you don't know if he died in a battleground. Yes, he did. From the reports I got, he died in a battleground. And we should continue to hold him in very high esteem. He's human too. He has some issues, but he was basically abandoned by the Mohamo. Under Ghana, he was abandoned. And you dealt with it last week, your last outings or so, about the issue with Commando. I know it very well. But this guy had to beg for crumbs from anybody that could help him. and there are individuals out there. You talk with Sikot, and Sikot told you how much she was of help to them. So that's the information I gathered. But Commando Darley, he wasn't working with me. I could not even get close. I could not even talk to him. That's why it was so difficult to recover the materials for Menemo that were in his keeping, because it was difficult to talk to them. But this guy fell in a battlefield and he fell as a hero. We have to remember him.
All right. Comrades, unfortunately, there is no way we can exhaust this subject within these few hours. I will open the phone lines, take a few calls from the audience, know what they think, how they feel, and we go from there. I want to hope that before you call, please shut down the volume of your set, shut down the volume of your set before you call. Because if you call and I'm hearing your, if you call and I'm hearing your echo, there is no way I can take your call. So you have the number there on the screen. I see so many people are beginning to call already. The phone lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear from you. So please go ahead and call. Again, the phone lines. The phone line is open for everybody, be it Ground Zero or the Diaspora. Go ahead and make your contribution as per what you have heard from the two cheers on the screen. Let's get to the first caller here. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Belgium, Secretary Chris. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. And what is your contribution?
Yeah, this is Titus calling from Belgium. I just want to thank you for your dedication to Amazonians. I also want to greet Chairman Jackson and Chairman Ephraim. And I want to say, Mr. Jackson, this is Titus calling from Belgium, one of your former defense chief in Widikum. What I want to say is, Secretary Chris, the issue in Momo is for the Momo people. And I believe that when the Momo people come together, they are going to have a solution to their problem. Mr. Jackson, coming to what we were talking about as regard to, I've worked with you and what we have done together. The issue I find about us is this issue of chairmen, chairwomen, and so on. And if we are going to learn to work as a Momo people, I think we are going to go forward. Coming to what actually transpired, what I've observed for the 2020, I work with you that we try to build the county marshal, the Momo, and so on. What I try to observe is that there is the issue of people coming into areas which are not the area of jurisdiction. And if we don't put things together, we are going to have issues. Like we are talking about Aringwa, I was so shocked. One time when I was in 2020 in the defense of Momo, I was shocked that she locked into the meeting. And everybody was surprised. Say, what is going on here? First of all, you said Mogamo is not going to participate in the 2020 draft. Why are you in the county defense? And that is how she was kicked out. I started questioning that there is something wrong somewhere. These are the things that we need to fix.
So if I may ask you, sir, what would be your suggestion on how to fix Momo?
The issue of Momo is that we have to go to the drawing board, and they are the key players that I know very well. We have to go. Momo people have to come together. I don't know if we're going to start from the various LGA or we start at any formula we use.
Hello.
Secretary, are you getting me?
You got a break there. Go on, please.
Yeah, I said, for my own suggestion, I said the Momo issue will be fixed by the Momo people. And for all the Momoans, they have to come together. have a main goal that they are working for this revolution. I am talking as a refugee, and I live in a refugee camp, but I still do the best to support in any one way or the other.
Okay.
So we the Momo, we have to come together. We have to. You even mentioned it that we are not building permanent enemies. We are trying to discover our errors in order to fix the errors to move forward. But I suggest that we all the people, we must come together, speak like one voice, keep our ego aside. If we identify a virus or something wrong, we must have to address it, and that will be a way forward. If we look, 80% of the majority are pointing figure at the same direction, then there is something wrong. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your call. All right, let's get to the next caller. Right. Comrade Jackson, anything you want to add briefly to the contribution of the caller?
Yes. Comrade Titus, I know him. I know him very well. And unfortunately, that is one of the good comrades that was ejected from by one of the Moamo, former chief or former or still Marco. This is he knows what I'm talking about. This is somebody that the county engaged in trying to carry on some groundwork, and he came up to us that he has somebody that can get those materials for us. The county disbursed money for them to get those materials, and Marco called and told the guy, "Don't bring those things." In effect, that there should be no action in Momo, and that guy stayed wherever he was with those materials.
Hold, please.
And you see,
hold the line.
There are some individuals like these titles that there are people that are patriots, and I even forgot to mention somebody in the cabinet like Dr. Fidelis and Ganamov. These are the people that have stood behind truth in Momo ever since. Because
all right, let's get to the next caller here. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris. This is Ernest from the District of Columbia.
All right. What is your contribution, sir?
My contribution, Chris, is that I don't know what made you to start this, but I think that this is the beginning of the building block. Because the people, as you have called them there, you see they are talking with a certain level of cordiality, and they were at different level of doing stuff. I want to find out from them if when these things were happening, were there some monies going somewhere, some problems about money somewhere, because it is like somebody wanted to make sure that she is somewhere so that somebody should not say something that they know it is within a particular, a certain particular people, you know, and that is why the people keep being around and trying to move people around so that something shouldn't filter out. That's what I see. So what is it that this person was interested? I don't think somebody coming in every time and changing people the other way. There was nothing that they were interested in. There was something, and the president himself, he said that he saw something somewhere and directed the people to do. You are directing the people now and then, not informing those you are working with. Are you the one working now for the people of the county, or how did you come in and then you went to somewhere and you hold your brakes so that there is no issue that turns around and get a complete result? Everything was going and hanging in the air, That's what I see. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question. Chairman, the question is, again, when somebody is sneaking in and trying to have things done a certain way, the question is, what are they trying to cover, to hide, or what is precisely the agenda? What did you see as the agenda in Menemo, in Njikwa, in Ngi, and Momo as a whole? 1 minute, please.
Yes, I know. I think I don't. There's so much to talk. That's why. Yes, I think the agenda here is this, Secretary Chris, and many Ambazonians will agree with me there is some level of insecurity at the higher levels of the government. There is this ability to have everybody under control. The idea of federalism is something that some people are not comfortable with. Because if you look at the activities of Aringwa, any strong person in this IG, they'll find a way to kick him out. You must be a yes person. If you are not a yes person, then you are not working with them. That's why they started this process from Mogamo. They came to Ngi because Patrick and Ephraim could not say yes to what they want. Now they say they want to kick them out. Well, for me, I am the big man that they know that I will never say yes to them in everything. So that is the agenda. For the financial part of it, I will not say something I don't know, but I know that for sure they want people that will toe the line. And as an Ambazonia, as Anglo-Saxon culture, we don't just succumb. We don't just say yes to things like that. You have to question things so that you know what you are getting into. So that's just the basic answer I can give you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the phone line is open. The phone line is open. Let us take this caller here, Sikot Judson, who was here before. Hello, sir.
Okay.
Please turn down the volume of your set. Turn down the volume of your set, sir.
I've done so, sir.
All right, go on.
Thank you for picking my calls, and thank you for the program. In fact, before I go on, let me say that there is something new happening in Ambazonia, and it starts with this program that you are running, whereby you bring various voices to air out their grievances and begin to amend things that had been going wrong. Last week, you had Mark Barata there, and you could see the way he performed, and there was an atmosphere of forgiveness, and we are pushing forward. And now, let me come to the issues we are discussing in Momo. I think there is nobody that has been victimized in this struggle, apart from the leaders, the top leaders, than me. And that stems from the fact that I come from Momo, and I come particularly from Mogamo, where the conspirators and the real architects of conspiracies and evil in the revolution come from. I had been victimized and I had not been supported. But I had continued to say that this particular woman we are talking about, I have for years continued to say that this woman might be raising enough money, working so hard, but there is something wrong somewhere that makes sure that there is no fight going on. The camps that do not fight are the camps that are promoted. They are the camps that receive all the money. They are the camps that abduct and take people for ransoms. Those camps that you will see them fighting, you will see them having real fighters are not giving money. For example, in Mogamo, where I come from, Basi is not giving money. Numben, where Commando came, had been abandoned for long. Now, why were there problems, even with my own humble self? What were the problem against me? Because I want fighters to fight? Because I say that some people are teaming up with CPDM, talking with the people of CPDM, giving them the chance to work. They fought tooth and nail against Bandam to take him out, and immediately was out, they remained quiet. And that was a woman with a brother who was in the military doing that and going quiet. When I also looked at situations in the past, and when I was at the top of anger, when our boys were killed in Guzang 13 by the ADF, and Kugwe happened, and I was angry and talking, bringing things we could do. And inside LGA meetings, I would say that Dr. Sako had not done enough to protect the boys in Mogamo. The president did not do much to protect the boys, and that is why they are dying every day. They were not equipped. They are hardly given materials.
But it wasn't the responsibility of the president or Dr. Sako to provide for Mogamo or for Momo. I mean, for a county that drafted over 300,000.
You are right. You are right. But what is my problem? There was a time I knew the fighters, and I knew that there was a time Commando became wayward because he had seen the characters. And the only person Commando wanted to be talking to was the president. He could intervene, but he would run away.
Listen, in defense of the president, I know for sure the president was talking to Commando, and it was in fact the elite of Mogamo who did not want the president talking directly to his general.
Well, without belaboring the point, because I have much to say and I want to be very brief so that others can come, I voiced this out, and because I was told that because I have called the president's name, you can never be in the LGA anymore.
Okay.
And I said, is this not an emperor? Is this an emperor? So you cannot talk anything that is against the president. And that's how I was pushed out. And when they were victimizing me, let me begin to call you how this woman had begun to build teams. You see, Nelson Ochiba was a man built in front of me. When Ochiba was called and trained how to begin to build conspiracies, it was him and me by this Madame Gua. But when I said, no, I can't live in this way, bringing this type of conspiracies, it began to be a problem. He built up other people like Ambazonia Bobo, whose face was never known. But what was his first rule? His missions were always against Sikot. And when he has discovered himself how he was used, he's nowhere today. Even this Mr. Jackson we are talking here had not heard. Because before the coming of the LGA, there was Momo Defense Council, which he was part. And then they used him and made us to look like the bad ones. It was this time Arengwa who painted me black, and some of us. And we were all pushed out with the Celestines and so on, and they built another group with this man of Ngi, whom he called one father there. They destroyed the whole thing, put in other structures. Now when Jackson began to understand the type of person she was and begin to refuse to yield to her, Jackson became the target. You can ask people like Ghana Mufi, who was sent a picture immediately he came to the cabinet or into the executive or whatever. And he began to talk against me. I am the terrorist, I am this. He has called it on ABC when you were there, Secretary Chris. And a few weeks ago, he had to call me to say, I'm sorry. And I asked him, what were all those things you were saying about me? Did you know about them? Did you know them? Did you really? And he said, no.
All right.
Things were told to him by Irene Gua. So I think he has often brought these people, and the new victim is Barrister Ghana. And I think we should save people. We should save the revolution, because he is making useful men into tools.
All right, comrade, thank you. It appears you have a lot to say. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. Let's see if we can get a few phone calls from different callers. Thanks for calling, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. This is Ground Zero. Hello.
Yes, Secretary Chris, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from Abakwa.
All right. And what is your contribution? 1 minute maximum.
Yes, I thank you very much for the fabulous work you are doing. You are actually trying to expose what is actually going wrong with the interim government and all its people. Let me tell you, if what I've perceived very much about what you've discussed with the rest of the panelists is that the government at the level of the LGAs, counties, and even interim government are fighting for power. They are power mongers, self-centeredness, in fact, hatred. There are a lot of things which has amounted to a terrible delay and suffering of our people on the ground. Let me tell you something, Secretary Chris. This is very, very bad. We are suffering on the ground. People are dying. And I thought people in the diaspora ought to have put in mind that we are out to liberate our country. We are out to gain our independence, but not to fight for power, not to fight for self-interest, not to have hatred, not to have command, and so forth. So these things, we don't comprehend them anymore at home. It is very, very bad. And I will tell you that the interim government is to be blamed, led by Dr. Shako. It is very bad. He has been too naive, as I can put it. He has been too slow to react. From one person, as an error is coming, another person will pick the same thing, and it continues like that, and things are worsening and worsening and worsening. So please, this is just what I have to tell you, and say you should continue with this work, fabulous work you are doing. So I'm asking question that what do you also do with the monies you receive for the prisoners, or whatever thing you had planned to do for the prisoners, and that you stayed mute afterward, they did not hear of it. Well, I don't know, but what I know is that anybody that takes a dime that is linked to this struggle and uses for his family is a curse, a terrible curse, my brother. It's a terrible curse upon you people that work that way, that use these monies not appropriately but misappropriate them and bring us to delayance and bring the people to more suffer and let them know that they are blood money. I think that is just all what I have to tell you, please.
Thank you. I will give you, stay there, let me give you an answer to the money question you raised. When you hear those things out there, comrade, just know that it is blackmail, it is slander. Now, many of you who know me out there know I have raised a lot of money for the interim government. The money is not sent to yours truly. When I raise money, it is collected by the treasury. For example, when I sit on TV on ABC, as you see me did a few months ago, I am sitting, the payment information you find on your screen when I am raising funds is a treasury payment information. In fact, when I did that last fundraiser for ABC, you saw me reading the figures, what was coming in and adding them up. The treasurer was actually monitoring what was coming in from the account and texted me the figures to announce them. So if somebody tells you out there that Secretary Chris is collecting money, please disregard that. Fabrication, slander, vilification. The same thing with that so-called prison money, blah, 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 that you hear out there. I explained here last Friday, when we could not find people to prosecute that project, I went back to the donors. Please turn down your TV volume. When we could not find somebody to prosecute that project, I went back to the donors and pleaded with them for that money to be plowed into ABC. And if you want to know how it was used, call the ABC treasurer and you will know about that. So please disregard every misinformation aimed at blackmail propaganda out there. Thank you. Let me get to the next caller. Let me see who is next. Okay, the phone lines are open, ladies and gentlemen.
Today is Monday.
Okay, Chairman Jackson, there is a question here for you, and the person is asking, could you please ask Chairman Jackson what happened to the Ingi material that were taken to Batibo? I hope whatever it means. What can you say, sir? What do you know about that? Chairman Jackson, are you still there? Oh, it appears that I'm seeing a frozen screen, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think Chairman Jackson is on screen. It appears that was a frozen screen. Now I saw another message. I don't know who is this, but somebody says to say that Secretary Chris managed everything is not correct. The bank account where money was collected to pay for ABC TV bills was an account where you was one of 2 or 3 signatories. It should be noted that he was not the person who opened the account. It is Dr. Tata, who has a post of responsibility at the presidency, who opened the account. Furthermore, the bank does not have a building in the state where Secretary Chris lives. Gentlemen, this is very factual. It's a lengthy article. I don't want to read it, and I don't know actually who is even writing this, but that account is very accurate. It is lengthy. I cannot read all. Let's see if we can get some more comments here. Let's see if we can get some more comments here. All right, let's get to this caller. Hello.
Good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay. What is your contribution?
Yeah, I want to first of all thank you for the program, and thank you also for picking my call. My contribution, I have 2 things to say here. My contribution, first of all, is that the Amazonia is structured in a way that every issue has to be solved from the base to the top. And if the counties have problems, they should be able to try to solve the problem by themselves rather than taking the issue outside. The national level should only come in to see that everything goes the right way and there is nothing like fraudulent. But if they bring their problems outside, there are many counties that try to solve the problem within themselves. That is the way the country should be ruled. If they want to say that the government, the central government to come and solve every problem, then there should be no counties and local government structures. Again, Momo is accused of not using money they were drafted. They should come here and talk about the money, how they use it, and not to debate on how the executives, people are fighting for posts. So it makes Ambazina look very childish. There is no government that is ruled on the air. You shouldn't take your issues and come and talk it on social media. Social media is not going to solve the problem. I think we should man up and try to solve the problem the way the government is structured.
Comrade, hold on there. You make a very legitimate point about counties, LGAs, trying as much as possible to resolve their own problems. But listen, I think sometimes, and in this case, these people and others that I have seen, they have legitimate problems. Take for instance, when you see one of their arguments was people come from the center government where they should not be influencing election at a local level. I don't want to go to LBLM to tell them who they have to vote for their chairman. I don't want to go to Fontem to tell them who to have to vote for their chairman for Fontem LGA. Of course, I know people that I could if I wanted to, but the government has established it as a rule that it is a wrong thing to do. And then when you now have same government officials doing the same thing, and you report it to the government, and the government says nothing and does nothing, the vice president has said the elections conducted in Momo were fraud. They were fraudulent. And yet, you would think that a proactive government would say, all right, if my vice president says there was something wrong, let's go and do it all over again. No, it didn't happen. To the extent it has now spilled to where we are now. Now you also realize we have the same thing in FACO. FACO on is even longer. So comrade, yes, we have a legitimate problem, but there is a moment the central government weighs in to resolve some of these issues. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes, Secretary Chris, but my problem is when there is an issue with a local government or with a county, if they are not able to solve the problem, there are structures that can take care, that are supposed to take care of, and they don't. The president is just like somebody to see if there is enough solution.
One of the problems I heard them mention, if you listen to them, they kept on pointing fingers at one woman. And they said they took the problems to the ethics committee. And guess who is head of ethics committee? The sister to the one woman. That is the problem. In that case, you expect the president to say, hey, or the head of that ethics committee to recuse herself and not participate in the deliberation, especially when she is also from that county. That wasn't the case. So then you expect either the president or the vice president to go step in and do something. That did not happen. You have the same thing in Momo. Bello is talking about the same thing. Meme is there. We got to start solving our problems. Thank you, comrade. Let me try to get some other callers.
Okay, one problem. What about the fight for over 2 years now, and there is no fighting? Is the same woman the problem because she cannot be in all age? They are defense, and the money they use, they should bring the account.
You are very correct. That is a legitimate question, and I asked them what they did with their share of the money. So maybe you have to go back and watch the recording, and then some of these answers will come up. But thank you for the call. All right. I think we don't have any more caller coming in. Okay, somebody is writing from ground zero. I went out today to take the tempo of Country Sunday. More people are respecting it than before. Stores which formerly did not close on Country Sunday now close. Very few taxis on the road in Boya. It's now a day for sports and meetings. By the way, the forces went to Bakwari town very early in the morning, knocked and opened doors, ordered any male inside to get into their trucks. Now, I guess these are Cameroon soldiers. Loaded them in military vehicles, took them to Bongo Square, kept them there for a couple of hours, demanded to see their national ID cards before liberating them. Those without ID cards were carried to their barracks, tortured. They bought their freedom before they could be released. This happened today. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's an interesting report. All right, let me get this caller here. Hello. Hello, sir. May I know where you're calling from, please?
From Maryland, Secretary Chris.
All right, thank you. Briefly, what is your contribution? You are the last caller.
Yes, I really want to appreciate you for bringing some of these people, cheer people on board so that people can listen to them talk. I think I have a conviction that no matter our differences as Ambazonians, we must think of how we can force together without people thinking that they have to force some other people out of the system. We must think of how we can correct one another and we move on. It beats my imagination that people in the revolution will think that once they disagree with some other people, the only thing they need to do is that they have to force the people out of the revolution. It pains me so much.
Yeah, you're quite on point. The other thing, they can force you out of the revolution, or to call you a blackleg, they call you a traitor, they call you infiltrator, or all those titles.
They call you and they call you names, and they say that you're working with our republic. They begin to they begin to fake information.
Right. And Ochiba is very good at that. Ochiba is great at that.
Ochiba Nation is good at that. And when you ask them that this is not a moment to be inflaming things, they kick you out of forums. That it is important that we work together. They kick out of forums.
Yeah.
So I want to also please Chris that you are a force to reckon on this revolution. And no matter the differences that you have with the internal sector and the interim government, hold your patience. Know that we need you in this revolution more than ever before. And we need everybody who is contributing one thing or the other. So I'm pleading with you and any other faithful Ambazonian, any other true patron, that we must learn to hold our problems. There are always problems everywhere. But
Yeah.
what is important is how to resolve them. And we move ahead. The key thing is the people who have died. If as Ambazonia, we can always ask ourselves, people who have died, and they will put them ahead. When some of them say that you have compromised, I ask myself, you have a brother fighting. If you are compromised, you have been so powerful that even your own community, people don't like you. How will you be compromised? To save who? So it's really something so pathetic. So keep on with the good work. I pray that Amazonians will come to work with factual people. Uchemba Nation is a big conspirator. Just as Shiko Johnson said, he fake up stories about people to damage people's name. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And it is important. It is important that, ladies and gentlemen, most of the things that Nelson write, Ochiba Nelson write, he doesn't write them in his name. You see him writing as Ground Zero Right. Ground Zero Right. When you see Ground Zero Right, know that is Nelson. You see UN, you know that is Nelson. He has quite a number of names that he masquerade behind, put out stuff, conspiracies. Be very, very watchful. And they are now in a team. They got a little leak. Some will put out audios. Some will write on the social media, Facebook. Please, Ambazonians, remain strong. I have said it here that this revolution, this interim government is nobody's estate. It is nobody's estate. It is our estate, and you want to get out of it. Don't say anybody pushed you out of it. You will go out because you are a weakling. Don't go out. Stay in. Fix it. The interim government must survive, must stand. Ladies and gentlemen, and this kind of leadership that we are talking about here, we gonna fix it. All right. No amount of blackmail and slander out there moves me at all. I just keep doing what I do the best. You can write day and night. Nothing, just nothing. Unshakable. All right. Let me get this caller here. I guess this is from Asia. Hello.
Hello.
Can you shut down the volume of your set, please? Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Cyprus.
Cyprus. Okay, you're always calling on the show. All right. Quickly, what's your contribution?
Yes. Yeah, Secretary Chris, I really thank you for your a good job that you are doing for Amazonia. I see how you brought the Momo as chairpersons, and you are trying to interview them, and all of them are pointing on one woman, Irene Ngwa, and the rest. It's a clique, and if we continue in this clique, that is, Amazonia will not go further.
Are you from Momo County originally?
No, I'm not from Momo country.
Okay.
I'm from Manu.
Manu, okay.
Because Amazonia, yes, we are focusing now on something, this Afcon of a thing. These are enablers and distractors. I just want Amazonia to maintain silence. Let's finish with this Afcon first, then we'll come to them. Because if we continue every day, maybe talking about them, they feel they are important, and they keep on distracting Amazonia from focusing on because what we have ahead of us is the world want Amazonia to write history. The UN Secretary General has gone to Cameroon, no answer. African Union have gone to Cameroon, no answer. EU have Francophonie have got no answer. Commonwealth have got no answer, and they have maintained seal lips. So African Union and African Football World is going to Cameroon again, and they want to come to Amazonia when people are dying. Yeah. So we are telling them that Amazonia is not safe, since those big organization has gone there and they have put seal lips. They don't want to act. Let them see it as we are telling them that Amazonia is not safe. If we continue in this Iringwa and what and his her cartel, we will not have a focus.
Thank you. I think you will say this to the national media, the government media, that instead of talking Afcon and sensitizing and educating Amazonians on what to do, all they do is carry out slander, blackmail, and think that they are serving Amazonia. That is absolutely not the case. And listen, you can trust that here at ABS, we will continue to take the message to the international community and to Amazonians that we totally reject Afcon taking place in Amazonia. We will continue to do so. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Nice. Thank you, you too. Okay. Let me take this ground zero. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. You are live on ABS. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Mezam, the man.
All right. Yes, sir. What is your contribution? 1 minute.
My contribution is just words of appreciation and thanks for the information you've given us. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Bye. Have a good night, sir.
Bye.
All right. Oh, my. Let me see. Ground zero. Okay, let me take that. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Can you turn down the volume of your set?
Yeah, I've done it.
No, there is still, I can still hear the background noise. Hello. All right, go ahead, please, quickly. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Douala, Cameroon.
All right, what is your contribution, sir?
Secretary Chris.
Yes, sir. Go on. Go on.
I just want to appreciate what you are. Yeah, I just want to appreciate what you are doing, Secretary Chris. I want to tell you that you should be very careful with the people around you, especially by Afro and the others. You have the natural will just come and insult people and so on and so forth. So now we are with you. We stand by you already. As that man came and preaches and preaches and pray for you. Yes, Secretary.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, your connection is not very good, but I got your message. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Hello. 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 Please turn down the volume of your set.
Okay. Good morning, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. You calling from where? Europe?
Yes, I'm calling from Europe. That's why I'm saying morning. First, before I tip in something, I want to give you a word of courage. You are that person. One, you are that anchor man that if we don't hear you, it's like the revolution is failing. Thank you for giving an option when they wanted to silence your voice. You had a plan B. That is the nightmare of those who wanted this revolution to be in a standstill. Secondly,
Thank you. Hold on there, comrade. Let me just chip in something here. Comrades, those of you watching, listening to me, the plan was silence him, and then use ABC to blackmail him, to slander him, to vilify him. After all, you will be left with nowhere to go. So when you see people so upset and so bitter about mere television, ladies and gentlemen, you begin to wonder that that was exactly the case. It was meant to use it, as you see Barrister John did, use ABC, slander him, mess him up, make him irrelevant, until ABS shows up and they're like, how dare him do this? How dare him do this? Well, go on, please.
This is to tell them that you are the master of this game. You have been there from the beginning. You know the mind of everyone before they could come into the revolution. You have met worse than what the characters you are seeing now. And you know the way to deal with them at every given moment. I've been in this revolution from the time being, from 2016. I have monitored every character in this revolution, and when everyone's right or says something, I know what you are saying. I'm a warrior outside there on the media. I know how the revolution has been going, and that is why I'm saying what is making me glad is the plan B you have that has made all of them to go mad. And secondly, I am happy for the initiative you are bringing in to bring all the fallen comrades that had that patriotism for Ambazonian, bringing them onto one umbrella to make them know that no matter the differences you had with them, it was because of the differences, not because you have hatred for them. You don't just like their approach. And you are bringing them in to realize that you are one person. We are Ambazonian. The blood flows in our vein. And I believe this is the best way forward we have to go. Because every Ambazonian have to be awakened in that, no, we have our differences. I want you to continue this work. Bring people together. Try to call them before they don't come. Bring the ayabas. We want to see them. This is freedom. They have to be free to the TV to express their emotion. Then from there we'll start to know the collective effort. I was very happy last time you talked about what the initiative you were doing behind when Mark Bahata called you. You saw he was somebody who had patriotism, but because of the bullying, his approach, people have to bully him. But he still have the love, and he was calling you behind to make sure Afcon doesn't hold in Victoria. I was very overwhelmed that with all the bullying, he have been bullied on the social media, and he still have this initiative. And
all
we
right.
want to communicate, to collaborate with him. They said you are a black leg, you were collaborating with Mark Barata, and so on.
Yes.
So I just want to thank you for taking the time, because there are other callers. We are behind it, ABS. We will be here because this is the only place we can express our plight freely without being bullied, without being taken out of the social media space. Thank you very much.
All right.
Night, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be the last call for the day. And let me say this before I call it a day. Comrades, one thing is very, very sure. One thing is very, very sure. We cannot continue to alienate Ambazonians from this struggle. If we continue to alienate more and more people from this struggle, it will only be too soon when we have no money with which to prosecute this revolution. Every Ambazonian that will bully away or send away from the struggle, they go away with their contributions. They go away with their money. It will surprise you, ladies and gentlemen. I spoke with one Ambazonian 2 weeks ago, and he said to me, and this is a millionaire in that matter. He said to me, Secretary Chris, if you people maintain this kind of attitude and leadership in the interim government, very soon you will not have anybody supporting the interim government. And he said to me, listen, you know I have money. If you people can put the house together and put the right leadership in place, I can bring in people like me who can pump funds into the struggle. He said, but until then, no, they're not going to do anything. So please, this idea that we will not embrace people who are remorseful for what they have done in the past is none of my business. We have to stretch our hands and begin to shake those hands, but then, of course, shake them, watching and monitoring to see whether those hands are genuine. I am by no means saying we'll just go there and embrace everybody in the name of unity, collaboration, or reconciliation. No, but where they are genuine, let us embrace it. More, they say, more hands tie the bundle very easily. That is what we got to do in this dispensation of this struggle. And if you are out there, you feel very insecure in your position in this interim government, I'm sorry about that. We have to bring in our people who are willing to come back into this interim government and render their service for country and for people. That is what we have to begin to do. And I am all for it. Now, having said that, I saw a little post out there running in the social media. I actually understand that Ochiba wrote that post or something like that, I met or I'm talking to Cho Ayaba and others. Please ignore that thing. Those are some of the fabrications that we are talking about, blackmail that we are talking about in this struggle. When people have nothing to say, they sit behind their keyboards and put out trash just to paint people black. That is not going to work here, ladies and gentlemen. They can put out 10,000 messages, 10,000 audios, and shout on top of your lungs. That will not move me here. No way. It's not going to move me. I will just keep on doing what I do here until we get to Boya. So please, you are dealing with a stone here. Some call it iron. That is exactly what it is. Nothing. As far as I know, convinced I am doing the right thing. I will keep on doing just that. And before I go, I remind you once more, Monday is going to be a heck of an interview with a guest. All of you will be surprised. You cannot miss it. I have never gotten a guest of this caliber, either on ABC or on ABS. Monday, mark your calendar. Please, again, mark me. It's a very special guest, a powerful diplomatic guest. Mark your calendar. So, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in again. Remember, for those of you watching by way of Facebook, to please hit your, remember to hit the bell. Remember to hit the bell over there on your page. Hit the bell, notification bell, so that every time we are coming on live, notifications are sent to you to invite you. I will be back here on Wednesday with a powerful panel of African journalists or reporters from Zambia, Nigeria, all over the place, who will be talking about the Afcon tournament that is being forced upon Amazonia. So remember, Wednesday, mark your calendar. It's going to be as powerful as usual. And some of you have been asking how you can support ABS. Please log on to the website. Log on to the website, and you can be able to support ABS. You will see the donation button, the fan club button. You choose any and choose whatever you can do to on a monthly basis to support this initiative. Thank you. Thank you. Our webpage is right there, absafricatv.com. absafricatv.com, and the email is there, info@absafricatv.com. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in and staying with me, bearing with me this long. I look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. Good night, Happy New Year, and God bless. Ladies and gentlemen, quickly before I go, I am receiving messages that some of you were blocked on Facebook. Some of you were blocked on Facebook. I can promise you we're going to go to the bottom, get to the bottom of that to find out why people are being blocked on ABS Facebook page. That should never be practiced here. We don't want what is being practiced over there practiced here. I can assure you, for those of you who are complaining of being blocked, we'll get to the bottom of it and get you unblocked. Thank you and good night. God bless.
Ilo kumwe